experience to a club already loaded with talent. Tonight, Steven Strasburg gets it started. The Nats host the Mets on the Space Coast.
Washington Nationals baseball. Washington Nationals baseball.
Spring training getting underway a little earlier this year because of the World Baseball Classic. So here at Space Coast Stadium in Viera, it's almost the end of week one of games. The Nats and the Mets tonight, and it is so good to be back with you. That's FP, I'm Bob. And another great thing is we don't have a whole lot of personnel decisions to talk about. So how about one guy who's going to bat first, and that's DENARD Span.
Hey, you talk about DENARD Span, one of Mike Rizzo's big signs in the offseason. 284 career hitter, 357 on-base percentage. Just solidifies that leadoff spot. When you talk about center field for the Nationals, over their short history in Washington, D.C., they've had 32 center fielders. DENARD Span will be number 33. 38 doubles last year for Span. He has some pop in his bat.
When he is healthy, he is one of the most productive top-of-the-order guys in Major League Baseball. I think you're going to love watching him in center field as well. Then there's Steven Strasburg, coming off the most famous 159 innings in Major League history.
Yeah, with a lot of experience this year. No talk about the shutdown for Strasburg. He's going to go get him, just be treated like everybody else. Faced 653 batters last year, gave up just 136 hits. He's 21-10 career, and you're looking for big things from Steven Strasburg for the Nats. And Davey Johnson said quite simply, he's the #1 starter on a great staff.
Adam LaRoche is re-signed, bringing that 30-homer, 100 RBI thing back, and the Nats will generate some offense this year. Not to mention a Gold Glove over there. So here we go, folks. 2013, the Nats and the Mets from Viera. Straight ahead.
Capital.
Days in Viera, Florida have been the calmest that we can remember in at least 3 years and maybe more. So with some breezes blowing, but a nice evening, 71 degrees at game time. Steven Strasburg just finishing up his pregame tosses. And evidently, somebody from Montreal owns a very, very old jersey.
Those are going like hotcakes right now. They can't even keep them in the team store.
And what team store is that? The one down the road or the one here? Hey, how about the hardware the Nats took home last year? I mean, look at the Silver Sluggers, the Gold Glove, the Executive Manager and Rookies of the Year. Also, Strasburg, Gio, Desmond, and Harper were all-stars. It was just amazing. And then just a little addendum to this. The Topps Rookie All-Star team featured obviously Bryce Harper, but a lot of folks don't know that Steve Lombardozzi made the Topps rookie all-star team last year. So when you have a great season and a good man at the helm like Mike Rizzo, then Davey Johnson, you're going to be bringing home some hardware.
Well, it took a little sting out of the offseason. When you talk about how the season ended, the wonderful 98-win season, to turn on the MLB network every single day and seeing a different nat with a different award, it took a little sting out of it. But when you talk about Davey Johnson and this being his last season, I caught up with him a little bit today and said, hey, are you going to approach it any differently this year? It's your last year of a wonderful managerial career. Are you going to maybe soak it in a little bit, like this is my last spring training, this is my last time facing this ball club in this ballpark? And he said, you know what, my whole life I've just been a one-day-at-a-time guy, and I'm not going to change anything. It's going to be about winning that game on that day and then moving on to the next day. So although it's his last season in a very storied managerial career, he's going to treat it like any other season, and hopefully he has a chance to go out on top.
And a new addition to the coaching staff this year, of course, Bo Porter. We wish Bo all the best in Houston. He will need that playing in that American League West. Tony Tarasco has been added to the staff. He'll be coaching first base across from Trent Jewett, who will make the move over to third. So some minor changes. But, FP, the thing I really like about this season as we approach it is the stability now that everybody in this organization can call on. Not a whole lot of crazy stuff, not a whole lot of changes going on. It's a stable situation from one really good season into the next.
Well, it's a luxury as an organization to have all your positions set into spring training to where maybe you're not having that competition and you can get guys ready for April 1 for opening day. Now the fact that you don't have guys trying to go max speed early in camp to win a job, they can sit back, relax, make sure they're peaking the last 4 or 5 days of camp and go get them on opening day.
Here come the Mets, and leading off is the greatest pinch hitter in baseball history. At least he was for a couple of weeks. Jordany Valdespin at second base. You might recognize Brian Bixler, the former Nat, who's at third base. Omar Quintanilla has been around for a while. The shortstop, a lot of new names, but keep an eye as well on their young catcher, Travis d'Arnaud, part of that deal sending R.A. Dickey to Toronto. The Mets think he's going to be a frontline catcher in years to come. Steven Strasburg, 15-6 last year with a 3.16 ERA. This spring, so far, 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, a strikeout. And, roughed up a little bit early in his outing, first time out last weekend, but then he settled down and got to his 45 to 50 pitches.
You saw the stats right there, 197 strikeouts versus just 48 walks last year. And talking to Davey before the game, he said 45 to 60 pitches for Strasburg tonight. He'll throw the fastball, curveball change. Last year, fastball averaged only 95.7 miles an hour. Let's set the defense for the Nats for the first time this year. Tyler Moore in left, Denard Span in center, Jason Worth in right, Desmond and Rendon on the left side, Espinosa LaRoche on the right side, and Kurt Suzuki doing the catching.
Had a chance to spend about 10 or 15 minutes with Anthony Rendon today. I am talking serious personality, serious talent, and I think the Nats fans are going to enjoy watching this young man play wherever it is he starts the season, if it's not in the big leagues. But what a future. He's back from the ankle injury. He is soaking it up from Ryan Zimmerman during BP over at third base. And this kid's got some talent, and he's got some pop.
Let me drop a big name on his swing right now. Edgar Martinez, on the right side. Very smooth, almost like a left-handed smooth swing from the right-handed batter's box.
And in center field, Denard Span made a fine running catch out of the gap in left center yesterday against the Marlins. He may make another one tonight because we've got some northerly breezes brewing here right from the first base dugout out toward left. Any fly balls to left field tonight might leave the yard, and the outfielders might be busy. Jordany Valdespin, 3 for 8 with a home run and 3 RBIs in the spring. And Strasburg delivers a fastball up high, and we're underway at 6:09 Eastern time. As mentioned, it is 71 degrees, but it's going to get cool in a hurry. It's been in the 40s at nighttime here in Central Florida. Actually down 2 degrees already from just a couple of minutes ago, 69 degrees at game time.
And everybody in Washington, D.C. just laughed at you with the getting cold at 48 degrees
We're
at night.
Freezing up here. And a 2-0 pitch. Fastball, and Jeff Gosney, the home plate umpire, calls it a strike. Hunter Wendelstedt's on the right side, Ed Hickox on the third base side. A lot of times in spring training games, there will be 3-man umpiring crews, and they will rotate around and help each other. Well hit. Valdespin continues his mastery of Nationals pitching. Guys couldn't get him out last year, and he's aboard to start the game for the Mets.
He just got ahead in the count 2-1, got a fastball right down the middle of the plate. Didn't try to do too much, hands inside the ball, flip it to left, and like you said, Carp, with that wind blowing out to left field, you get a ball to drop in like that. That's a nice job.
He can run as well. Next up will be young center fielder COLLIN COWGILL. RBI, 2 for 6 this spring, right-handed batter. David Wright not on the traveling roster for the Mets tonight.
Not too many Mets were.
Yeah, KIRK NYEWENHUIS, one guy who got major league time last year, is here, but most of the regulars down in St. Lucie, about 80 miles from here. There's another base hit. Worth over to cut it off, but a good jump and a good read by Valdespin gets him to third base. Corner situation, nobody out.
You're talking to Tom Goodwin today, the Mets first base coach. He was talking about COLLIN COWGILL, saying how he's been the igniter for this team early in camp. They like the way he plays. They like his baseball knowledge. Came into the game hitting .571, that average going up after that knock.
Next up will be right fielder Mike BAXTER, 27-year-old from Queens. Waiver pickup for the Mets a couple of years ago. Having a tough spring so far, trying to buy that first knock, which you always tell us is the hardest one to get. He's 0 for 9.
And see, that might be like the difference between a Mets guy trying to make the club.
And the wind's going to help this a bit. It'll back up Tyler Moore some. Valdespin tagging. Tyler does the right thing by throwing into second base. And the Mets pick up an early run on Mike BAXTER's first RBI of the spring.
And BAXTER trying to establish himself as an everyday guy for the Mets. Doesn't have a hit yet on the spring, but that'll help right there. Loosen you up a little bit. Sac fly gets his team on top, 1-0.
That'll bring in Andrew Brown, the DH. It's nothing unusual to see really good pitchers struggle in their first inning or so in spring training. They're out there to strengthen their arm. They're out there to find the strike zone, and often they will throw more fastballs than usual.
Well, you want to get that arm strength ramped up. You want to be locked in April 1. I don't think anything Steven Strasburg does down here in spring training in the Grapefruit League matters. As long as he's healthy and ready to go on April 1st, opening day, it's the only thing that matters.
That looked like a good fastball with good movement.
And you remember, Carp, at times last year, that two-seam fastball from Strasburg. Everybody talks about the velocity, the 97, 98, but when he had that two-seamer running, if you're a right-handed hitter, it was not a comfortable AB.
That's a good breaking ball that was fouled off to the right by Andrew Brown, and if Adam LaRoche can't reach it, it's out of play. Adam telling me today, interesting winter, and after signing the deal for 2 years plus an option to remain a National, the one thing Adam kind of smiled about when he told me today, he said, I'm telling you, I had some interesting conversations with Mike Rizzo. He is a competitive guy, and he said it was really something negotiating with the Nats GM, and I think Adam enjoyed every minute of it after the way it turned out.
Oh, maybe at first at least.
Well, that's why guys have agents, of course, but he wanted to be back, and after the season he had, why not? 30 and 100 plus a Gold Glove.
But I think it tells you something about the closeness of this ball club, the family that is the Washington Nationals, that a guy like Adam LaRoche can pick up the phone and talk to his GM about a contract like that. Look at the first changeup from Steven Strasburg today.
For Strasburg in the spring, his second strikeout in 2 2/3 innings. And he'll face KIRK NYEWENHUIS, who we saw for the first time last year. In fact, he hit his first Major League homer against Edwin Jackson on April 9th. A 2-run shot to tie a game at 3-3 at that point. Lively bat. He's 1 for 10 this spring. 25 years old. Won't have a birthday until August. And he was a Mets third rounder back in 08.
And got off to that fast start last year for the Mets. April and May, lights out, slowed down a little bit. The league made adjustments to him. But the sky's the limit with this guy. Tons of ability.
Yeah, he hit 280 in 4 minor league seasons. Former baseball, football athlete in Denver at Christian High School. Played some collegiate ball at Azusa Pacific, where he was an All-American. 1 ball, 1 strike, and that one is low and inside. This is the time of the night, any time of the year, when you're not real wild about facing Stephen Strasburg. We're right at that twilight time. The lights here are very low compared to a major league ballpark. Fly balls could be an adventure for some outfielders. That's a really good snapping breaking ball in there for strike 2. It's kind of what you're looking at if you're DENARD Span out in left center. Crossing up a left-handed batter and making him look bad. Strasburg, 2 singles, and he gets a couple of Ks. Look out, folks. Dig in. Here comes DENARD Span. A little more red. Curly W's in the ballpark here every year. DENARD Span will lead things off. Kurt Suzuki told me Davey wanted speed at the top of the lineup, and that's why he's in the number 2 hole tonight. Tyler Moore last year, what a great debut season. Remember the game he had in Toronto with a couple of long balls and a bunch of RBIs, really got him going. Had a game-winning hit against the Cardinals in the playoffs. Bryce Harper not in the lineup tonight. Ryan Zimmerman not in the lineup, but most of the other regulars are. And they will face 22-year-old from the Dominican Republic, Rafael Montero, who between Single-A Savannah and Single-A St. Lucie last year for the Mets, he won 11 games with a 2.36 ERA. Good-looking young prospect.
There was a comparison with the Mets people today that we talked to Pedro Martinez with this guy. Big prospect of the Mets organization. You pitch an A-ball and get an invite to Major League Camp, you're doing something right. Electric fastball, changeup's probably his best pitch. They said his command is unreal for a guy that pitched an A-ball.
Guys learn changeups a lot younger than they used to.
Let's set the defense for the Mets tonight. NIEUWENHUIS, COWGILL, BAXTER in the outfield. Quintanilla and our old friend Brian BIXLER at third base. Valdespin Hicks on the right side. And the guy they got in the trade from the Blue Jays, Travis d'Arnaud, doing the catching for the Mets.
DENARD Span this spring, 1 for 6. He attempted his first stolen base yesterday and was thrown out. Suzuki and Worth to follow, bottom of the first. DENARD played in 128 games for the Twins last year. Hit 283, just under his career average. 357 on-base percentage in 5 years with Minnesota. His first major league hit in April will be number 700. And I watched him a lot in batting practice today. DENARD really works hard on staying on the ball and trying to drive it to left center. And he'll do that in games as the count allows him to. But Rick Eckstein couldn't say enough good things about how this guy has come in and fit in a very established already clubhouse.
I was impressed with the career numbers. 293 versus left-handers. hits left-handers better than he hits right-handers.
Here's one more stat, FP, that might become important about 6 months from now. There's that changeup. Denard Span's postseason batting average is .357.
Well, that was part of the plan, to get playoff tough in the offseason, and you're looking at one of the ways they got playoff tough right now.
Born in Washington, D.C., grew up in Tampa. Did some international baseball with the under-18 Team USA in the Junior Pan Am Games. And a good eye as he takes one just under his hands, count even 2-2.
I'll just say this, he looks good in that uni. I mean, looked good in a Twins uni, looks better in a Nats uni.
A lot of hitting room up the middle. He'll guide one left side and just fouled by a couple of feet. But that's that inside-out swing he works on a lot. And, you know, FP, you know this. That's also a swing that'll let you make some two-strike contact to keep some at-bats alive.
Well, he's going back to his 2009 approach with Rick Eckstein. They've been working on it in spring training to where he's more in a crouch position. You saw the foot down early. The hands are more in front. And what do I mean by that? They start by the curly W, and he takes them back away from his body as his load as the pitch comes. So he's going back to a season that he had a lot of success in 2009.
He hit .311 that year. Pulls this one. That's a fair ball into the right field corner. It gets deep into the corner. Mike Baxter up with it. And Denard Span will be stopped by Trent Jewett. A leadoff double. What a nice at-bat. Foul ball the other way. Then he gets a pitch he can pull.
Well, I'm not going to say it until opening day because spring training doesn't count. Let's just say there goes the long winner. Denard Span with a double right there down the right field line. And just a great approach. I mean, this guy's been a tough out his whole career. You saw him fouling off the tough pitch on the outer half to get that ball down in the end, drop the hands on it, and lead off double for the Nats.
And I'll say there goes the no-hitter. I've been dreaming of doing that for 2 years.
Yeah, doesn't count.
I know.
Spring training doesn't count.
Well, here's Kurt Suzuki. 3 at-bats in the spring so far. FP and I both had a chance to chat with Wilson Ramos on the field today. He looks fantastic. Span back in easily.
And Terry Collins can check that box right there. They worked on the pickoff play to second base.
And, of course, the point on Ramos well taken because Suzuki and Ramos, a formidable catching combination. Terry Collins, fiery manager. He's got some work cut out for him this year. 20 wins of his last year and now residing in Toronto. Mets and the Marlins. What will they be able to do over the long haul to compete with the Nationals, the Braves, and the Phillies? Tough division, to say the least. Fastball rides up and in. It was close. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, that's a perfect position for Kurt Suzuki to hit. You talk about what the lineup might be like this year. Doubt that he'll hit second a lot, but maybe against a tough lefty every now and then. With his approach, inside out, hits the ball to the right side a lot. You get a leadoff double from a guy like Denard Span. This is the right man, the right spot. Kurt Suzuki usually does a nice job of hitting the ball the other side.
He was trying to do it on that swing. Last time we saw Kurt with the bat in his hands, it looked like he had given the Nationals the insurance run they needed in Game 5 of the National League Division Series. That was kind of a trademark Suzuki hit, smash right up the middle.
I don't even remember that game at all. I don't know what you're talking about at all. There was a Game 5?
I remember 100 wins counting the playoffs.
Yeah. I just remember Game 4. After that, it's all a blank to me.
Another close pitch, diving down and in. And Denard Span, of course, a disruptor when he gets on base, whether it's first or second. Situation like this, he'll cause some middle infielders to play out of position. And any number 2 hitter loves something like that. With a guy like Jason Worth on deck. Breaking ball, Suzuki in the air to right. Almost any spring, that ball's flirting with the wall, but not here tonight. And Baxter will launch a pretty strong throw over to Brian BIXLER for the first out. Arguably the best at-bat in the history of the Washington Nationals. Game 4. He knew it.
It's the best at-bat I've ever seen, and I've never been in a louder ballpark in my life. Unreal. And if you don't have goosebumps watching that, you're not a fan of baseball.
Yeah, and I, just like you, having been in different ballparks, in different playoff situations, hats off to you Nats fans, because you provided us with two of the greatest nights of atmosphere we've ever seen. Hopefully more to come. Werth on the spring, 0 for 2. A couple of strikeouts. The one thing Jason does, and we've talked about this in the past, early in the spring, he'll take a lot of pitches. He wants to see as much as he can. So he's kind of a scanner out there, checking out locations, different quadrants of the strike zone. No problem at all taking that. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, as a veteran guy, you know where you need to be. And you want to see as many pitches as you can early in spring training. You want to pick up release point, get your timing down, get your foot down early. You do a lot of homework as a hitter just by looking at pitches going by you versus going up there hacking and not really having a plan.
Breaking ball, a little bit low. Jason, of course, in that playoff game really drove the ball. Didn't drive it a whole lot when he came back, but he sure got his share of base hits. He ended up hitting 300 last year with that late surge after coming back from the wrist. On the corner.
I think the thing that impressed us most about Jason Werth last year is when he came back from that wrist and he acted like he hadn't missed a day. When you go on the DL for that long a time, it's tough to get your timing back. It's tough to jump into a season where everybody's at full strength when you've missed so many games. And from his first at-bat after the wrist, he was locked in for the rest of the way.
Breaking ball, right side pop-up for Brandon Hicks. Second out of the inning. DENARD Span still camped at second base with Adam LaRoche coming up. Well, I'll tell you, 3 guys among the happiest that Adam LaRoche came back. Ryan Zimmerman, Ian Desmond, and Danny Espinosa, with a footnote of Steve Lombardozzi as well. They know if they get a throw near the bag, it's going to be an out.
Shortstop's got the pickoff move. Check that box. And you think I'm joking, but
how long is this checklist for spring training?
You actually do stuff like that. You'll talk about it before the game in spring training. Hey, I want at least 2 pickoffs in the middle. I want to work on first and thirds. You know, we're going to do some things that we work on in early work during the game today. And you'll meet in the clubhouse and say, hey, I want to do some daylight picks at second, where the shortstop puts his glove up in the air. You create daylight between yourself and the runner. These are the things you work on in spring training, so when you go to do them in the regular season, you know what you're doing.
Ball slammed off the helmet of Travis d'Arnaud. No balls, 2 strikes after he threw a really nice at-the-knees fastball to start off at him. He finished right at 100 RBIs with 33 home runs last year, 35 doubles. He hit lefties 268, right-handers 273. Very, very consistent. Nats and the Mets are both 1-3 in early spring training games.
Remember last year late in spring training when Davey Johnson said he was thinking about platooning Adam LaRoche and Mark DeRosa at first base?
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Not the way this guy swung the bat all year. Out to shortstop, OMAR Quintanilla. And the Nats get a leadoff double from DENARD Span and Strandon. After the first inning here in beautiful Viera, it's 1-0 Mets.
beautiful sunset here on the east coast of Florida. Mets up 1-0 against the Nationals as we go to the top of the second. Let's check out a couple first-inning strikeouts from Steven Strasburg right into midseason form. I usually don't like that term. I don't know why I just used it, but you look at the changeup right there. A couple of nice combos from Strasburg to start up the first inning for some punch-outs.
Well, you can check off that one on your cliche list.
I don't like midseason form. Well, what is midseason form? I don't even know what that is.
I like October form myself.
Well, he's in midseason form. What does that mean?
Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher, originally drafted by the Phillies. And then from Toronto to the Mets in the R.A. Dickey transaction. 286 career minor league hitter in 5 years. 333 at AAA Las Vegas for the Blue Jays last year, when he had 16 homers and drove in 52. They like him a lot. From Long Beach, 24 years of age. Strasburg gets a ground ball out to short. To his left, Ian Desmond, and the rocket to finish it off. And again, anything close to first base, Adam LaRoche will grab it. That's 4 straight for Strasburg. Well, how about the season this staff had last year? 72 wins. Only Tampa Bay had a better ERA. Strikeouts, home runs allowed. Storybook season for this staff. And it could be even better.
Well, you're talking about a year of experience for everybody, including Gio Gonzalez in the playoffs. Adding a guy like Dan Haren, and I feel like when you add a veteran presence like Dan Haren, it can only be a good thing. And then when he takes the hill on his day, you kind of feel this pressure to keep up with the rest of the guys. And that's a big reason why Dan Haren's going to have an amazing season in Nats uniform.
By the way, the Nats last year, only the Reds gave up fewer runs, only the Dodgers fewer home runs, only the Reds and Giants had more saves, and only the Phillies had more strikeouts. So the Nationals were in the top 2 or 3 in almost every category in National League pitching. Dan Haren has pitched in a World Series. 2004 for St. Louis against Boston.
Not Dan Haren. Oops. Go back to that, guys, real quick. I'm sure there's a lot of Nats fans. There he is right there in the middle. Just had to, spring training, draw on the telestrator, get that out of the way. There he is right in the middle. You hear things about different guys, and when you pick up a guy like a Dan Haren, you wonder what kind of guy he is, how he's going to fit in. And I can't tell you how many former teammates of Dan Haren that I've talked to this offseason, that the first thing out of their mouth is what a great guy he is. And that'll fit perfectly into this ball club and this clubhouse.
Strasburg went off speed on a 3-ball count there. And he walks Brandon Hicks 1-on-1 out here at the top of the second. Strasburg's first walk of the spring. And he'll face veteran shortstop Omar Quintanilla.
And apparently when Dan Haren's first outing, his velocity is higher than it's been in a while. Hit 91-92 in his first spring training start.
Quintanilla from El Paso originally. 31-year-old infielder. And he's late for that Strasburg offering off to the left side. Breaking ball. Look at the 12-6 on that.
That curveball's been sharp all night. And when you can throw it in any count at any time for a strike like this, now as a hitter you have to respect it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to throw in a little bit shorter, bounce it, because as a hitter you have to commit.
He goes with what appears to be the changeup. Wow. So of the last 4 batters retired, 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, the changeup's been the out pitch. We showed you the first 2 strikeouts, Brown and NIEUWENHUIS. Now Quintanilla gets a changeup for a swing through strike 3. Lots of good downward movement, great arm speed, good location once again from Strasburg.
Brian Bixler. Last time we saw him was in 2011. In fact, the Nationals were in Pittsburgh, his former home with the Pirates, when he got called up in late April. He's 30 years of age now, from Sandusky, Ohio. Useful guy who can play a lot of positions. He can run. 1 for 6 this spring. And the Strasburg fastball rides high.
Yeah, the most interesting thing about Brian Bixler when he was a National is how he surprised every infield in the National League with his speed.
Yeah.
You remember how many infield hits he had? And then word got out that he could run. All of a sudden, every infielder in the National League got rid of it much quicker with this guy at bat.
He was the Mid-American Conference Player of the Year years ago at Eastern Michigan. All-American there. Once had a 32-game hitting streak in college. And a 1-ball, 1-strike count to the number 9 hitter. We are using the DH here early in spring training. Most of the National starters have not really done any hitting yet. They will as time goes on. But again, this year, spring training a week longer, so some of the things that are done after a week or two may roll around a little bit after that.
Yeah, so the silver slugger on the mound right now doesn't get a hit.
I know. Strasburg would have been due up 5th in the bottom of the 2nd.
And that would have kept a lot of people watching this game because he can rake.
32 pitches to get 5 outs. He's got some good command of that off-speed stuff tonight. That was down and away to the right-handed batter. 4 strikeouts in 2 innings for Stephen Strasburg. Ian Desmond about to lead off. One nothing Mets. Desmond Espinosa, Tyler Moore straight ahead. Welcome to the next generation of ticketing in 2013. Your card is your access to the ballpark. It's new and exciting, and it's the first team in sports to create virtual access for Nationals season plan holders. Your seats are automatically loaded onto your card. You can share and transfer them easily with your partners or your friends online. And then there's MLB's first and only online loyalty program. Seats, upgrades, parking experiences, all kinds of great stuff. Go to nationals.com/access and find out how you can get into the ballpark faster, pick up some things at the ballpark a lot faster, and just have a wonderful, efficient time at Nationals Park.
We were told it takes about a second to get into the ballpark with that card.
And I know a lot of you fans want to know, well, hey, I like my paper tickets. What if Stephen Strasburg throws a no-hitter the night I go to the ballpark? The Nationals are working on that, and they're going to come up with a way that you can have commemorative tickets if you desire. We'll give you more on that down the road. But, you know, baseball fans, a lot of us are old school, and we like to have those tickets, and that is being addressed, believe me.
Or if you propose to Bryce Harper and he says yes, you might want to keep that ticket stub.
He's already turned down 10,250 of them. Ian Desmond on the spring, couple of RBIs. He's 3 for 6. Ian just picks up right where he left off in the playoffs. What a series he had, hitting the ball all over Washington and St. Louis.
Well, the cool part about that is the rest of the country got to see what we already knew about Ian Desmond.
386 in that series. 7 hits and 19 at bats. It's a pretty good piece of that one in the air to right field for Mike Baxter. But nothing's going out to right tonight. That's 4 Nationals in a row retired since RAFAEL Montero gave up the double to DENARD Span leading off the first. Those those flags are pointing straight south. Wind's been blowing from that direction all day. When it warms up down here, it's supposed to be a little chilly over the weekend. The wind will turn around and come off the ocean and blow out toward right field.
Yeah, that was against traffic. It wasn't going anywhere.
That's right. Just the first of many meteorological tips and fun facts we'll be passing your way this year. We're still negotiating bootleg weather. Not sure if that's going to reappear or not.
Oh, it will. Bob's bootleg weather will be in full force this year.
Hey, it's Washington, D.C. in the spring. You know it will.
Get a little Doppler radar in the bottom right-hand corner by the score.
If Bob's headset is pointing east, you know some weather's coming in from Virginia.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, by the way.
There's
a radar screen in the bottom right-hand corner.
Our screen's busy enough without anybody else on there. Danny, 1 for 7, a walk, 3 strikeouts. And if he can come anywhere near from this side of the plate, what he does with fewer at-bats on the other side, there is no ceiling on what this guy can accomplish. I think he's already one of the great defensive second basemen in the game. Espinoza turns on that one. It's looking good, and it's on the ground in the right field corner. Baxter plays it well, and the Nationals have their second double of the game.
Well, he had that tear in his left shoulder all last season. When I talked to him today, he said 3 days a week, 2 hours of work on it. He was using the bands like pitchers use on his left arm, strengthening it, trying to get it back. And he said, I didn't feel the pain last year. It just didn't do what I told it to do. It was weak all season long. It got worse toward the end of the year. And he said he's feeling strong. The left shoulder's as strong as it's ever been. And his swing is a lot more smooth from the left side. And I think that's a good example right there. Little one-out double for Espinoza.
Here's Tyler Moore. Fastball from Montero, up and away. Tyler, 75 games, 156 at bats last year. Double figures in home runs. And he got a base hit for 2 RBIs in his only at bat in the playoffs. What an experience that was for a rookie.
Fairly big hit.
Oh, yeah. Game 2, opposite field at Busch Stadium to give the Nats that win. Brought them home even. Then he had the 2 home run game June 13th at Toronto. .2-0 pitch. That ball down the right field line. It'll carry to Mike Baxter. Pretty good read by Danny Espinoza to get over to third base after the catch with 2 outs. Not an easy play for Baxter. That ball was dying on him.
Well, you remember Baxter last year saving Johan Santana's no-hitter with that spectacular catch crashing up against the wall. Cost him a couple months of his season. A nice play right here. Maybe misjudged it a hair. You see a lot of white showing right there, but with the wind blowing, tailed away from him, Espinoza does a nice job getting back to the bag and advancing to third.
Anthony Rendon, 4 for 10, a homer, 3 RBIs. This is one exciting young player.
Sweet swing.
Went to Rice. He talked about all the great coaching he got there that made him ready for the minor leagues. He had a chance to go to pro ball right out of high school, and he told me today, I'm really glad I stayed in college. Learned a lot. Got the credit hours. Rice, by the way, one of the toughest academic schools in the country. And what a future this young man has. He said he's not thinking about the ankle at all. All is well physically.
He just looks relaxed standing in the box. Just his setup alone.
Good eye on the breaking ball. He wasn't biting on 2-0. And there's not a pitcher on deck, but there's a pretty good pinch hitter. And tonight, a DH.
There's a gooner on deck.
I think you know who we're talking about. Chad's had a bump and a bruise or 2 in the spring, working through some minor stuff. 3-0 pitch, gets the corner.
Well, fastball for a strike right here. We might get to see that smooth swing.
Danny Espinosa at third base after his one-out double. And Rendon was airing it out right there. 3-2. He told me he's a line drive hitter. When he really gets one, it'll go out. But he doesn't really consider himself a swing from the heels power guy.
Well, he did right there.
Yeah.
Maybe got a hair too big, slowed him down, got the fastball by him.
You don't mind seeing a guy take a rip on 3-1?
No.
He takes a rip on 3-2, and that ball is in the gap to tie the game. Anthony Rendon, his 4th RBI of the spring. And that's the most on the ball club. The Nats are back even, 1-1.
Big hack 3-1, swing through it, make the adjustment, shorten up in a 3-2 count. Watch how short this swing is. Fastball up in the zone, gets on top, compact swing. That's his power alley. Likes to hit the ball the other way, and that's a great example of a good young hitter. Just 22 years old with that approach. You will see him in Washington soon.
Here's Chad Tracy. Couple of strikeouts, 0 for 6 in the spring.
And don't ask me where. That's not my job.
Well, Rendon told me he can play anywhere. He will play anywhere. He wants to be in the big leagues someday. I said, I saw you hanging out with Zimmerman a lot during batting practice over there at third base. He said, I watch Ryan Zimmerman throw. I watch him pick up the ball. I watch him breathe. I watch him walk. He said, I'm trying to pick up everything I can from a guy like Ryan Zimmerman.
What you didn't hear is he was standing behind him saying, I want your job, I want your job, I want your job. Someday I'm going to have your job.
You never did that to anybody, did you?
Nope. I mean, he's versatile. Davey Johnson was talking about, there's Zim right there, shoulder feeling good. He said, a lot like Danny Espinosa last year. It just wouldn't do what he wanted it to do. It was weak, didn't hurt him. Had the surgery, feeling good.
Chad Tracy identifying the off-speed pitch.
Been talking to Davey today about Rendon. As you look at Ryan Zimmerman's numbers, 287, 153 career home run. And of those 593 RBIs, a lot of them were walk-offs, clutch ones.
2 balls and a strike to Chad. Well hit left side. It'll back up Quintanilla, and he makes a very smooth play. He knew he had time. But the Nats tied the game with doubles from Espinosa and Anthony Rendon, who now has 4 RBIs in the spring. Spring baseball in Anchorage. No, we're in Vieira, actually, but it is getting chilly. As we told you, down into the 40s at night. We'll be back here a week from tomorrow against the Cardinals, the Astros on the 16th, Tigers on the 22nd, and then later that weekend we do a Friday-Sunday thing, Tigers-Braves, and then at Nationals Park on the Friday before the regular season opens, Yankees will be back. The only team to have come into Nationals Park last year and dominate a series, the Yanks. Now without Curtis Granderson for a while. So leading off for the Mets here in the third, Jordany Valdespin, who singled to left, came around to score on a Mike Baxter sacrifice fly back in the first. At Strasburg, breaking ball, diving down and into the left-handed batter in nasty fashion.
Yeah, it's been dirty all night. And check out Jordany Valdespin right there doing a little dance on the curveball down and in.
So 1 ball and 1 strike. Now Valdespin squares her on the bunt, and that's not a good idea against a high-tight Strasburg fastball. Happy spring training, Mike Rizzo.
Well, glad to be here. A beautiful day here in Viera, Florida.
Well, the days have been beautiful. The nights have been a little chilly. Mike, your impressions of the first 4 or 5 games of the spring here, starting things about a week earlier this year. How has that been accomplished by the guys, and what challenges did that present?
Well, it's a long spring training, so as you've seen, we're very gradually getting the veteran players into the lineup. I think Worth and LaRoche started yesterday, two at bats apiece. And we're going to go slow with them. Davey's going to kind of spoon feed, because it is a long spring training, and then obviously a long grind after that.
That's quite a luxury as an organization to have almost all your spots full, to where you can just gear up for April 1, and guys don't have to be at top speed early to compete for a job.
It really is. It's something that we haven't gone through really before. There's always been competitions at least a couple of positions. Some years, several positions. So it is. It's ramp up and prepare for for opening day of the season, and that's what we're trying to do right now.
That was a base hit, whether or not Danny Espinosa had gotten to the ball. So Jordany Valdespin is 2 for 2.
Can you trade for Valdespin in the offseason next year? So
when's the last time we got this guy out?
Babe Valdespin. Remember the pinch hit homers last year? 2 hits tonight.
COWGILL will be next. Well, we have seen a couple of flashes of nice things tonight from DENARD Span, your new leadoff man, and young Mr. Rendon. Let's talk about the leadoff guy first. What does he bring to your table?
Well, he's kind of a prototypical leadoff type of guy. He's left-handed bat, which balances our lineup up. And he's a terrific defensive player. He's got great range, angles, routes to the ball. He strengthens us defensively in center field, and he also strengthens the club in left field, because we're now fortunate enough to put Harper in left. So we feel we have 3 players capable of being center fielders in the big leagues at all 3 spots. He gives us a very patient, grind them out type of leadoff hitter that'll see a lot of pitches. With a good on-base percentage and a good batting average, so he should be able to set the table for the big boppers in the middle. And he's really focused on stealing more bases, and we feel that he'll be a 30 plus stolen base type of guy.
And it's only a couple weeks into camp, but he's fitted nicely so far into one of the better clubhouses in baseball.
Well, if you're a good guy, this clubhouse is very welcoming, and he's a terrific guy, very spiritual, very family orientated. He came in and made friends really fast, and he's a top-notch guy, character guy, and with a lot of ability, and is really taken in by his teammates.
Strikeout number 5 for Stephen Strasburg. Throwing the fastball well, but we've also seen him with pretty good command of his other pitches.
Well, it's early. He's stretching his arm out, looking really to paint with his fastball, trying to stay away from his the changeup, bread and butter pitch. That's kind of his security blanket. He throws that whenever he feels like striking somebody out, it seems. But he's really trying to work on some of his other pitches, mostly fastball command early on, and really stretch out that arm. And as you can see, the breaking ball's been really biting today, and he's been throwing it for strikes.
Yeah, behind in the count too, a couple of 2-1 curveballs for strikes.
Yeah, he's as you know, he's got the ability level to throw any pitch at any count at any time for a strike, and that's kind of what separates him from a lot of other pitchers.
And if I have to think about a 2-1 curveball from a guy that throws 98, I'm in trouble.
Well, you tip your cap and walk back to the dugout. Really,
I did a lot of that.
Mike Baxter, the hitter, taking one lone away as Stephen Strasburg just gets beyond the 45 pitch mark here with 1 out in the third.
I mean, it's kind of cool that we have to really think hard to ask you a question, because there's not a whole lot going on with this ball club other than good stuff.
I got one.
You got one?
What about the left side of your bullpen?
Well, the left side of the bullpen is, we've got several guys that are vying for some to open some eyes, and we've got Zach Duke under contract, and he's a guy that kind of fits that. He'll fill that long lefty role, and Davey will use him against certain left-handed hitters. We felt going into this that it wasn't vital that we get a second left-hander in the bullpen, just because. You look at the splits of our right-handed relievers, and they do. I'd rather have an accomplished right-handed reliever than a mediocre left-hander, just because he's left-handed in the pen.
And you and I talked about this at Nats Fest. You've got some righties who can do some things against left-handed guys. Yeah, you look at the splits against for Stammen and Matthews and Clippard and even Storin, and they're the best left-handers in the league aren't getting lefties out as well as our right-handers get them out.
Well, you got power guys. You got power guys. I don't think it matters what hand they throw with. When you look at what the Cardinals did with their bullpen late in the season, everybody throwing 97, 98. It doesn't matter what hand the ball is in.
And you try and match the roster up to the way the manager manages. And Davey's not a guy who really goes left on left and uses 3 pitchers in an inning. He likes his pitchers to pitch an inning and get and maximize their pitch counts.
Your thoughts on your 2 lefties pitching the WBC?
Well, we're honored to have 2 guys with the USA across New Jersey, and we feel good about them going there. We trust Joe Torre, Greg Maddox, and Latchman, Marcel Latchman very much, and we're in constant contact with them. They're veteran enough to prepare themselves the way they need to prepare themselves to pitch and be ready for the season. So we're looking forward to it, and hopefully they pitch great, and we can win the gold.
You're just trying to get on Joe Torre's good side. Well, that's why you sent him 2 stud lefties. I know.
Tell you what, any GM who can send him 2 lefties like that better be on Joe's good side.
Absolutely.
2 balls and 1 strike. Strasburg challenges on the hands there of the DH Brown. Count 2-2 with 1 out, runner at second. Mike Rizzo stopping by for our annual opening night telecast visit in Viera, Florida.
And what about the rest of the division? The Braves, the Phillies?
Well, I think it's a monster division. We have great respect for all the teams in the division. We think the Phillies are going to be a tough team to beat. When Utley's right and when Howard's right, they're a really tough team, and they're going to be much better than they were last year. And the Braves are great. They've got a good young core, and they know how to play. And the Marlins always give us trouble, and we're not looking past the Mets. We're focused in, and we're not looking past anybody. We respect all the teams we play. We don't fear any of them, but we respect them, and we're ready to go at them.
A lot of home games in April. Interesting early season schedule, Mike. About almost 12.5 games in your ballpark in the first month.
Yeah, it's a little different than years past. I guess the fluidity of the way they schedule is turning our favor a little bit. But what we said last year is you got to play the games, you got to play the teams, you got to play, and you got to go through all of them to get your ultimate prize. So. We're looking forward to the start of the season, but like I said, it feels like we've been down here a month, and we've got a bunch of time left here.
Well, you just don't want to peak too soon, I think, and get those guys ready for opening day. That's all that matters. And what's it going to be like for a team that's constantly going to have a bullseye on their back? And maybe we'll get to that next inning.
That is a strike 'em out, throw 'em out double play as FP and I continue to try to think of questions for Mike Rizzo. He'll join us for a little while longer. We appreciate it, Mike, and we'll be right back. Bottom of the third coming up here in Vieira, Space Coast Stadium. Nats and the Mets are all tied up. And our game summary, Danny Espinoza has a double tonight, and Anthony Rendon drove him in. Denard Span had one earlier than that. And always good, Mike, to see Danny doing some things from the left side of that plate.
Yeah, Danny's worked extremely hard on the left side, and he wants to get, this year, he wants to get a lot of our bats from the left side during spring training. He and Eck have worked tirelessly the beginning of this season. His shoulder feels good. So, you know, we're looking for Danny to take the next step in his progression. And, you know, if he does anything, if the step is anything like Ian's was from 1 year to another, we'll be looking pretty good.
Well, I think if that shoulder's healthy, it's nothing but good things for him. He played with a weak shoulder last year. Check out all the center fielders, Mike.
We've been dying to show this to you.
For your Washington Nationals since 2005.
Yeah, it's been quite a bit of them.
So maybe that's why you went out and got the guy in the box right now?
Yeah, and you know, it's he. Like I said, it was there was a lot of reasons for it. We felt that Harp could handle the position, but it really improves our defense in left and center, and we play more of a National League style of baseball with him. And you know, he's one of the hitters in the lineup that's not going to strike out a lot. He's a contact guy. He's going to see a lot of pitches and put the ball in play.
And Denard Span looking over his stats in recent years. Point well taken on his contact. Only 62 strikeouts last year, 36 the year before that when he was hurt for a while. But 74 strikeouts the entire year in 2010, and he struck out 89 times, but he hit 311 the year before that, had that really high on-base percentage.
Right.
And that's the approach he's trying to get back to this year. When he hit 311 that year with his hands a little bit more pressed forward, and he'll move him backwards, kind of walk away from him, get that foot down early like that. And it allows you to keep your head still and see the baseball.
Definitely, and he's more physical. He's more physical the closer you get to him. He's a physical young man, and he's extremely strong for his size. And I'll tell you what, he's in that weight room as much as anybody. He works extremely hard.
Brandon Lyon, by the way, 11-year veteran, trying to win a job as a non-roster guy on the Mets staff. He's facing the Nationals after Rafael Montero gave up a run on 3 hits in 2 innings. Lyon, 40-45 career with Toronto, Boston, the Diamondbacks, Tigers, Astros, and back to Toronto for a while last year.
I would venture to say if we threw up a graphic with all the leadoff hitters since 2005, it might fill up 2 screens.
And Denard Span is aboard for the second time, both times leading off an inning. And the Nationals have their 4th base runner of the night.
Well, that's just a prototypical leadoff at bat right there, spitting on borderline pitches, not being overly aggressive, knowing his strike zone, having a game plan, sticking to it, and getting on board. How many times you see a guy swing at a borderline 3-1, 2-1 pitch, get himself out? Very impressive right there from Denard Span.
Definitely know yourself and know your strengths, and he's going to incorporate the bunt game into it a little bit more, and the base stealing into it a little bit more.
Interesting scenario, Mike, with your catching core this year. Established veteran, and then, of course, Wilson Ramos coming back from the injury. Is there a formula as far as how this thing's going to go, who gets how many games or whatever, or is it you got 2 really good guys, let's see how it shakes out?
Well, we think we have 2 everyday catchers in the big leagues, and we feel one of them has great upside in Wilson Ramos, and one is a steady Eddie in Kurt Suzuki. So, you know, we have the luxury to take our time with Wilson and to make sure he's 110% to withstand the rigors of catching every day, and you know, Zook is fine a defensive catcher as there is in the game, and really can handle a bat, and we feel he's going to put up some numbers that, you know, comparable to what he did early in his Oakland years.
And one of the most interesting things is you look at Wilson Ramos right there in the middle. To watch Kurt Suzuki and his progression as a National League catcher last year. You first got him, he liked the off speed, got to know his staff a little bit better, and as he progressed in his first stint in the National League, changed the way he called the game based on the pitchers he was catching.
Well, I've been around a long time. I haven't seen a better student of pitching than Suzuki has.
And there's Denard Span's first stolen base of the spring. He picked a 1-2 off-speed pitch on which to run, making it easily.
Yeah, talk about students of the game. A good base stealer knows when the off-speed is coming, knows when it's a good count to run. Good jump right there, Mike.
Yeah, good jump against a guy that's pretty deliberate to the plate. The scouting report on Brandon is ahead in the count. He's going to throw a breaking pitch, and that all is incorporated into the strategy and into his mindset, and that's what makes good base stealers great base stealers.
Heard Suzuki a swing and a miss on a pitch down and in. 1 on, 1 out here in the third. Jason Worth and Adam LaRoche now the next 2.
And as we look at Jason Worth getting the box right now, your thoughts on the off-season beard from Jason Worth? I mean, that's pretty healthy right there, huh?
That is. We've had some discussions about it. To me, he likes it. He told me his wife likes it. I don't like it, but it's a lot of hair.
Yeah,
and, from a guy with not a lot of hair, it's a lot of hair.
Yeah, there could be a family of 3 living in there. One of the best at bats I've ever seen in my life. Game 4.
Yeah, it was special, and Jason has really come into spring training this year. He's really taken the onus of being the leader of this club. And I think it really is his team now, and he feels it, and the other players feel it, and he works extremely hard in the off season. He's a resident of DC full time, and he's in that ballpark every day in the off season, and working hard with he and Lombardozzi are in there all the time, and he really prepares the way you're supposed to prepare, and the young players, if they're not watching him, then they're missing out.
1 ball, 1 strike to Jason Worth. Lead run aboard here in scoring position, bottom of the third.
Well, it's just been nice for me, as I'm sure it has been for you, is to see the progression with Jason Worth and how he's become comfortable being a national. When maybe at first when he got here, it was a new organization, didn't know anybody, didn't know the town, didn't know anything about anything, and now he seems comfortable and absolutely loves being in that uni.
Span, another good decision on when to run. So he'll steal third after swiping second, both on similar pitches. That was a 1-1 count that time.
And there's your leadoff guy, Riz. What do you think?
Yeah, he's got the whole package tonight, and he's really going to add a dimension to our club that I really like, and I thought that we lacked over the years, and it's a different offensive team this year, but I think we're going to score runs in a different way and be able to manufacture more runs than we have in the past.
Jason Worth takes a fastball in there. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, if you can manufacture runs with the staff that you have and the defense that you have behind that staff, goodness.
Well, that was the plan. When we were going good last year, when we were scoring runs, we were hitting home runs in bulk. But when we weren't hitting home runs in bulk, we struggled to score some runs. And I think with the dynamic of a contact hitter and then another good on-base percentage guy, everybody slots down a little bit, a slot or two in the lineup, and now you've got some really good on-base percentage guys in front of the big guys, the big boppers with the Zims and the LaRoches and the Desmonds, and I think that you can really do something special.
3-2 to Jason Worth with 1 out. Up the middle. Big hop to his left. Quintanilla. Base hit or an out. It drives in a run. So Jason Worth gets his first RBI of the spring. And the Nats on top, 2-1.
Well, that's a perfect example of a manufactured run, Mike. Like you were just talking about. Steal second, steal third. Infield back. Jason Worth in a 3-2 count, just playing a little pepper. Thought it was up the middle. Started to bow out to take his turn for a base hit, but was good enough to score. DENARD Span, who started it up with a nice at-bat, a 3-1 walk.
Yeah, runs without a hit is something that we're going to try and put into the playbook this year.
That'd be good. 5 runs on no hits.
Here's Adam LaRoche, who bounced out to short first time. Mets don't play the big shift on him. Shortstop still on the left field side of the bag. And Mike, one of the big issues, of course, of the offseason, whether or not Adam was coming back. What helped you to pull the trigger on that deal to keep him here?
Well, we wanted Adam here the whole time. He's a terrific first baseman, Gold Glove caliber. Really cements our defense in the infield. He's a left-handed power bat that's a productive guy. He balances our lineup left-right perfectly. And really the unsung part of his game is that he's such a terrific guy in the clubhouse and such a leader in his own way.
He got jammed on that pitch, and straight up it goes. Darno right behind home plate. Mike, we always appreciate your time. We'll see you around the spring.
Thanks, Bob. I'll see you soon. Thanks.
Take care, Mike.
Peace.
Mike Rizzo, Nats GM, and after 3, it's Washington on top, 2-1.
Alec.
They can never get enough of Steven Strasburg. 6 strikeouts on the night tonight so far, mostly with the changeup. You see the changeup down and away right there to NIEUWENHUIS. Quintanilla gets the same medicine right there with another changeup. And how about that one? That had a little split action to Brian BIXLER, and COWGILL gets a fastball in the outer half, and there's a dirty curveball for strike 3. Little strike him out, throw him out action in the last inning.
Well done by Steven Strasburg. Could be the winning pitcher. But long way to go.
And
top of the 4th.
And it doesn't count.
I know. But he's in, I'm not going to say midseason form. He just looked good tonight. Here's Zach Duke. Zach will turn 30 in the middle of April, and he's going to be a valuable guy for this ball club. Situational lefty if needed. Not that you wish badly on anybody, but Zach and I talked about it today for the Mid-Atlantic Sports Report. If somebody can't make a start, here's a guy who can jump out of the bullpen like Tom Gorzolani used to and go out and get you 5 or 6 innings or more. Told me he loves to start, but he wants to be in the big leagues, and he's going to do whatever it takes to be there, and he's glad to be a part of a very good bullpen. A lot of years with the Pirates, 8 games with the Nats last year in September with a win, a 1.32 ERA, 10 strikeouts in nearly 14 innings.
Yeah, 15-5 in AAA.
And at Syracuse, those were all starts, 26 of them.
Well, I do think you need a left-handed presence in the bullpen, regardless.
Yeah.
And I do think the Nats are going to miss Sean Burnett.
There's no doubt about that. Good breaking ball by Duke. And evidently, Kurt Suzuki caught that ball cleanly, so no throw needed. And of the 10 outs the Mets have made tonight, the Nationals have 7 strikeouts.
Yeah, good slider right there, down and away. NIEUWENHUIS swinging.
Hey, before it gets too late, want to pass this along to you folks back in D.C. Marla Lerner Tannenbaum, the chair of the National Dream Foundation, announcing today that finally the building permit has been received and construction will begin on the Washington Nationals Youth Baseball Academy immediately. That's down there in Ward 7 in D.C. Southeast. We dedicated that facility 2 summers ago, and construction is about to go underway, and what a wonderful thing for our community. Thank you, Marla. Good luck with all of that. The Washington Nationals Youth Baseball Academy. Pretty good looking pitch by Zach Duke. Didn't get the call on Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher.
And Duke will go fastball, slider, curveball, change. Yeah, fastball in the upper 80s. You see the change up right there.
Who's the announcer you know who always calls him
I'm
Zook?
not going to say it, but I just did it just like he did. I'm sure he's watching somewhere. I will not do that to him.
Zach Duke. Career record of 49 and 74 in the big leagues. Deep short, and the ball came up on Ian Desmond and ate him up. Darno will round the bag and go for second, and he'll be in there. If we were scoring up here, that would be a double.
Yeah, a little in-between hop. Got a fastball on the outer half. Pulled it to shortstop. Desmond got caught right in between. The ball had a little top spin action on it. And because of the big kick, it allowed Darno to get into second with what we're calling a double.
They haven't posted a hit yet. Now they have. We're going to try to get along better with official scores this year, aren't we?
Speak for yourself. There's a couple times last year you had to hold me back from going into the...
I'm just baiting you, just having a little fun. 1 on, 1 out, and a swing and a miss by Brandon Hicks, the first baseman. Walked his first time. Strasburg walked a couple, but he struck out 6, and one of them led to a strikeout throw-out double play.
I think I even went as far one time on the air last year to say, have you ever seen a game?
Zach turns over the breaking ball, and Suzuki smothers it. By the way, the Nats will be at Disney tomorrow to take on the Braves. Jordan Zimmerman will pitch. Tyler Clippard is scheduled to get some work. And in that game, Danny Espinosa will lead off and play shortstop, and Bryce Harper will bat third and play center field. Nats Braves tomorrow, and then 1 week from then, with St. Louis here, we'll be with you next week. Jason Worth, right field, 2 outs.
Do they wear the hats with the Mickey Mouse ears on them tomorrow against the Braves?
Well, I know what you're leading me into here, because we were a little amused by the Mets batting practice caps. You know, all the ball clubs are wearing new BP caps this year, and the Nats have the red, white, and blue represented, but the Mets are showing up at spring training games with blue caps, orange bills, and Mr. Met as the logo on their ball cap.
Yeah, for their BP hats. Their game hats are the traditional blue Mets hats with
Thank
the
goodness
interlocking NY and orange, but
Mr. Met.
their BP hats had Mr. Met on them. And we were wondering if the Phillies had the Fanatic on their BP hats and maybe Screech or Teddy on the Nats. What is that about?
Dodgers with a streetcar.
I can't imagine too many Mets fans like that. I know Mr. Met is an icon and all that, but having a mascot on your hat, to me, just going a little bit too far.
Yeah.
I asked Bob Guerin, the bench coach, if that was him on the hat.
I'm glad you didn't ask Terry Collins that question. I might have been working alone tonight. No balls and 2 strikes to Omar Quintanilla, who struck out first time. That was Tim Tuffle, the third base coach you saw over there in front of Terry Collins. And Duke putting one down into the dirt on 0-2. Hey, that is Chris Snyder behind the plate. In camp with the Nats. Veteran guy. Some time with Arizona. Nationals have a bevy of catchers. Carlos Maldonado, Jonathan Solano, Sandy Leon, Chris Snyder, Kurt Suzuki, Wilson Ramos. Ramos not listed as an extra man tonight. We'll be getting to that time of the game in the next inning or so when we'll start spotting changes all over the field.
And I quit keeping score.
2 balls and 2 strikes. No, you put an error on the board out there. I don't know why, because they did give the Mets a double. So we'll ignore that for a while. I don't think anybody got an error that we know of.
They switched that double to an error.
Well, they still have 4 hits on the board, though. That ball out to left is going to back up Tyler Moore. And with this wind, it's going to get over his head for a ground rule double. It is an absolute Cape Canaveral jet stream out to left field tonight. Anything in the air is just going to keep going and going. And the Mets have tied the game with 2 doubles here in the 4th.
Yeah, blowing straight out to left. Good swing right here from Carlos Quintanilla. Or Omar Quintanilla, excuse me. Gets the ball down and away, drives it to left field. See Tyler Moore right there drifting with that ball a little bit. And I'm sure as he plays more left field and gets used to that wind blowing out, you turn your back sometimes to gain ground, then find the ball at the last minute.
Here's Brian Bixler, the former Nat, and he swings through that one. Quintanilla, first RBI of the spring. Bixler batting 9th, struck out Steven Strasburg's 4th strikeout victim for the final out back in the 2nd. And Duke can get that fastball up there. He can be deceptively fast. 10 wins with the 06 Pirates, 11 with Pittsburgh in 09. He's kind of bounced around since. Sounded like a broken bat, and Zach will reach out in spirit. And the Mets will tie the game in the top of the 4th inning on a pair of doubles. So it's Desmond Espinosa, Tyler Moore coming up.
And we're going to check out Timo in slow-mo right here, the Omar Quintanilla double over his head. I want to show you what you should do as an outfielder when you realize that the ball is hit well, the wind is blowing out. Right here is where maybe you think, okay, this ball is hit. I'm going to turn my back to home plate, gain some ground, take my eyes off the ball, then look back at the ball as I'm going toward the fence. And I think right here, Tyler Moore gets fooled a little bit. You see him staying parallel with the center fielder right there and not actually showing his numbers to home plate. And that slows you down a little bit, enable that ball to get over his head. I don't think he would have caught it either way because it was hit so well in spring training, and you work on that stuff. But as an outfielder, when you realize that ball's hit over your head, you got to turn your back and run and find a spot, look back up over your head at the last second and hope you find it.
A converted first baseman.
I want to say, too, he looks much better in number 12 this year, Tyler Moore. Much better.
Josh Edgen will be the new pitcher for the Mets.
Yeah, 1 and 2 for the Mets last year with a 4.56, 30 strikeouts versus 10 walks, and 25 2/3 innings. Fastball slider change, fastball run up there about 93 miles an hour.
Yeah, he pitched AA, AAA, made it to the big leagues last year. First time up tonight, Ian Desmond flew out to right. Rips it right off the mound and into center field. Ian Desmond's 4th hit of the spring, so he's 4 for 8 with a couple of RBIs. All-star last year, playing as well as anybody in the National League when he got hurt.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk in Phillies camp early on that if they were healthy, they would have won the National League East. But if you remember all the injuries that the Nationals had early in the season, whether it was Michael Morse, Ian Desmond at the All-Star break, Drew Storm coming out of spring training, Jason Worth with the wrist. I think Ryan Zimmerman missed about 17 games but played jacked up for about 40. Every team goes through the injury bug, and the Nats did a nice job of still winning 98 games with all those injuries.
Does Jimmy Rollins really think a team that lost the division by 17 games would have won?
Well, I hope he does. He should think that. Absolutely. That's the way you have to think as a team, and I would imagine the Phillies are going to have a big chip on their shoulder this year to show everybody that they can still compete.
Well, I have to give Jimmy Rollins credit for something, because years ago, after the Mets had won divisions on a regular basis, he said, we're the team to beat. Nobody in New York liked it, and it turned out exactly the way he called it. Yandy Espinosa flies out to Valdespin out there in short center, so it's 1-on, 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. You know, but all those other teams, Phillies, Braves, that's for the media, the fans, and the broadcasters to worry about. The Nats are going to go out every day and take care of their business, and things fall where they may. Braves won 94 games last year. There's Tyler Moore. Had a hit taken away on a fly ball fading down the right field line. Good running catch by Mike Baxter first time up. And a fastball is on the inside corner up in the zone for a strike.
I'm going to kind of clean up the Tyler Moore line drive to left field. Bob, in my experiences, playing the outfield in spring training, whether it's Arizona or Florida, the hardest time you're going to have all season long playing the outfield because of the elements, the wind, the sun. I could not wait to break camp and A, play some night games, and B, play some games where the wind isn't blowing 20 miles an hour the whole game. On
top of that, grandstands that are so low, ball gets up in the glare and all that. Just totally different conditions here.
There's no fun playing outfield in spring training at all.
Well, the way the wind blows here, backhand stop, Brian Bixler, and the ball gets away. Looked like Tyler had it beaten out anyway, but they might have to assess an error because Desmond will end up at third base. So you would think infield hit for Tyler Moore. It'll be first and third, 1 out.
And as soon as Bixler had to play this ball going into left field, you knew Moore had a chance. Plant and throw from Bixler. Big long one hopper on the money. That might have been close, but Tyler Moore smelling a knock, even in spring training, going hard down that line for an infield single.
And they do assess an error on the throw by Bixler, allowing Ian Desmond to get over to third. So a chance to jump right back on top for the Nats with Anthony Rendon, who already has 1 RBI tonight. Beautiful opposite field double right after he almost doubled down the left field line a pitch earlier. So he is 5 for 11 this spring with a home run and 4 batted in. Fastball really tailing outside. Travis d'Arnaud had to go to the backhand side.
There's certain fundamental things, certain physical things you look for in a young player in spring training. And I think if you talk to most GMs and managers, they look for guys that look like they belong, that don't have that deer in the headlights look. And just look at Rendon standing there, just his setup. This is a guy that's 22 years old. We talked about the sweet swing, how his power stroke is the other way. He had a double his first time up. It's just how relaxed he is in the batter's box, how he's looking the part right now. And I think that, more than a lot of things, is what a big league manager looks for in a young player in his first big league camp. I know Rendon was here last year, but he didn't get an extended look like he's getting this year.
Taking on 3-0.
Do they look scared? Is there fear in their eyes? Are they nervous?
Not him.
Not at all.
21 games at Harrisburg last year after he played down here in the Gulf Coast League and then Auburn and Potomac on his way back from the ankle injury. Now we're getting into that generation of players who were born in the 90s.
Come on.
Anthony Rendon's birthday, June 6th, 1990.
Thanks for making me feel even older right there.
You Out to short. No way they're going to turn 2 here. The Nats will take the lead as Rendon collects another RBI. 6-4 force play. Anthony Rendon, 5 RBIs this spring.
Yeah, foot down early, maybe got a little bit too big, got on top of that ball, almost got it in the hole. Nice play by Quintanilla going to his right to get the force at second base, but it's another RBI for Rendon. And Desmond with a leadoff single scores.
Here's Chad Tracy. It's a lefty-lefty AB here. Of course, Chad was hurt so much last year, but man, when he was in there, he was productive. And he had 12 pinch hits, 261 in that role, 11 RBIs on those 12 hits. He was 3 for 9 with a homer against left-handers last year. So on several occasions, the opposing manager would play it by the book, and Chad would make it hurt.
And I think just as important of all of his numbers is the fact that, you know, he was the captain of the Goon Squad as a bench guy and a former bench guy. If you can embrace your role and know your role, it makes it that much easier to be successful in that role. I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody wants to start at the major league level. They all want to play every day. Steve Lombardozzi, Roger Bernardina, Tyler Moore all want to be everyday guys, but if you get a leader like Chad Tracy of the Goon Squad and he makes t-shirts and allows you to embrace that role, now all of a sudden you're more productive in it. You're not fighting it so much, you just accept it.
That ball absolutely laced to right field. Mike Baxter right there. Good at bat against the lefty by Chad Tracy. What else is new? Nats take the lead on another Rendon RBI. Welcome back to Space Coast Stadium in Viera, Florida. The Nats back on top 3-2. Nice night so far at the plate for Anthony Rendon. We've got some changes out there. We'll bring you up to date on them as we can. Zach Duke is out there for another inning after he was touched for a run on 2 hits last time around. And for the Mets, Jordany Valdespin will be the leadoff man. We'll see if Zach Duke can get him out. He was 2 for 2 against Steven Strasburg, 1 a clean single to left, and a base hit up the middle, 2 of the 5 hits that Steven gave up. Hey, Steven, thanks for joining us tonight. Bob and FP upstairs, and how'd you feel about your outing?
Yeah, it felt pretty good. Just wanted to get out there and work on the fastball and work on all off speed.
We noticed that you were throwing all of your pitches right from the get-go. How'd you feel about the changeup, the two-seamer, and the hook?
Yeah, it all felt pretty good.
So that was the goal tonight, to work on the off-speed a little bit more. I thought your curveball was fantastic. You went to the changeup for the punch-out pitch, and it seemed like you established the fastball in the zone early.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to come up here hacking in spring training, so, you want to start out throwing some fastballs and trying to get that going. But at the same time, you don't like giving up hits, so you got to make the adjustment.
Hey, Stephen, spring training is going to be a little bit longer this year because everything got started so early. How will that affect your routine? Because opening day is still 4 weeks away, 4 weeks from tomorrow.
You know, just taking it slow, and we got a lot more games down here, so just keep on building, and you know, I think we'll all have plenty of time to get ready for opening day.
Well, I'm sure a lot of Nats fans want to know, including this one talking to you right now, when are you going to hit? Because we were looking forward to you grabbing a bat tonight and getting in the batter's box and defending that Silver Slugger award.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Nice athletic play by Zach Duke from Chris Marrero right there.
Yeah, we just started swinging in the cages, so we're taking that pretty slow too.
Hey, Stephen, how much pride did you take in your hitting last year? And really, for that matter, the entire staff contributed, because Gio hit a homer and Jordan hit a homer, not just homers, but base hits and all that. And how cool was that when you got the Silver Slugger? Because that tells people something about your athletic ability.
I don't know. I haven't gotten the award yet, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. But
well, we know you're going to.
Yeah, you know, I think we're all competitors, and when we go out there and take BP before the game, we all want to see who can hit the ball the farthest, so I guess we decided to take that in the game.
Are you an award guy? Do you care about stuff like that? Have you set goals to maybe win some other awards?
Not really. I mean, you know, personal awards they're going to come, and you know, hopefully I'll get a few of those, but you know, at the same time, I think the one we're all looking for is a World Series ring, so that's the number one.
Little flare to right field. Long run for Yuri Perez, unable to get there, and a base hit for COLLIN COWGILL, his second of the night. Stephen, all the questions you will not have to answer this year, and Mike Rizzo won't have to deal with the whole innings thing. How much does it mean to you just to go out, be a part of the ball club, and that's not going to be looming on the horizon?
Well, I think it was looming for everybody in the front office, and you know, all the media decided to make it a much bigger deal, but it's all water under the bridge, and just excited to be another one of the guys.
What is the limit for this team this year? I mean, you talk about winning 98 games last year. You got shut down in September. I feel like with you full strength going all season long, I mean, have you guys set goals? What are your expectations for this ball club this year?
You know, I think it's still too early to tell. We all know how much talent we have here, but you know, there's been a lot of talented teams over the course of history that didn't do much or didn't go make it far in the playoffs. So you know, we just got to stay together and you know, roll with the punches. It's going to be a long year, and there's going to be some losing streaks. There's going to be some winning streaks, and we just got to play our best baseball in the end.
Hey, Stephen, finally, what does Dan Haren bring to the staff? What you may have known about him ahead of time, and now that he's a teammate, your impressions of him?
You know, Dan's a lot like me. I guess we're the quiet type, and you know, still trying to feel each other out. But you know, I love watching him pitch, and I loved watching him pitch when he was playing on the West Coast, especially growing up. So, you know, I feel like from a personal standpoint, I can learn a lot from the way he attacks hitters and how he uses his you know, off-speed pitches in certain counts, because he's got some nasty stuff.
Now go up to him and say that. Veteran guys love when you go up to him and say, "I watched you growing up."
Hey, Steve, thanks for your time so much. Nice job tonight, and continued success this spring.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Stephen Strasburg, 3 innings, a run on 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. A double play on a strikeout, and Zach Duke with the big hook right there on Mike Baxter. So that's Zach Duke's second K of the night. That'll bring in Andrew Brown, who struck out twice against the Nats right-hander, who we just talked to. So you've seen Yuri Perez in right, Corey Brown's in center, Chris Marrero is at first base, Chris Snyder behind the plate. Looks like Rendon, Desmond, and Espinoza are still on the infield, and Tyler Moore still in left field. So we're up to date on the changes, and when the Nats come up, we'll see where they're all hitting. Usually in spring training, most of the changes, if not all of them, are straight up. Chris Marrero, another guy coming back from some injuries, and we saw him debut in the major leagues, get some base hits. First day in the big leagues, the ball was finding him in Cincinnati. And you step on a major league field, all of a sudden one-hoppers and rockets are finding you everywhere you go.
He can hit, I know that.
Yes, he can.
I dropped a Chris Mahero on him today with that Dewey's feature, and I haven't seen that before.
There is so much young talent showing itself at this level. Chris Marrero won't be 25 until the 2nd of July. 15th overall player taken back in 06, so it's been a while. Called up August 27 in 2011 and started at Cincinnati, and then playing winter ball in the Dominican last November. That severe left hamstring strain that limited him to 53 games at 5 different levels of the minor leagues. And a ball flared to right. Yuri Perez is out there. That guy could cover serious ground. And a scoreless top of the 5th for Zach Duke. Top of the order coming up. Nats by 1.
I'm going to go to the bottom of the 5th. 3-2 Nationals over the New York Metropolitans. Let's check out the latest addition for your Washington Nationals. DENARD Span, the new leadoff guy. How's it gone for him tonight so far? First time up. A little lousy double down the right field line to start things up for the Nats. And then he got on via a walk his second time. Decided, you know what, I'm going to work on the stolen base. I'll steal second. I'll steal third. And then score a run on a simple ground out. But Bob, your favorite channel is C-SPAN. I think the Nats fans' favorite channel this year might be D-SPAN.
Yeah, I like that. I was thinking about that today. That'd be a great nickname, D-SPAN. All right, Yuri Perez. So not all the changes are straight up. He replaces Span. Well, yeah, it is. Center fielder for center fielder here. This is an exciting young player. Yeah. Corey Brown is batting 3rd in this inning in center, and Yuri Perez in right field. He can play center field. That's why I got fooled there, because he is so fast. He stole 51 bases at AAA Syracuse. And he stole 3 bases in 13 games for the Nats. '23 on May 30th he will be. And then Chris Snyder already in the game and catching, followed by Corey Brown. Josh Edgin still out there for the Mets. Yuri Perez, 5 out of 13 this spring. A couple of stolen bases. Went chopping on a high fastball.
Remember when the roster expanded in September, and Perez added some speed off the bench, gave Davey Johnson some nice options late in close games, came in, scored some big runs as a pinch runner. Two balls and 2 strikes, and Perez a swing and a miss.
Bottom of the 5th underway with a strikeout. And a reminder, we'll be telling you about this a lot. If you are a national season plan holder, your seats are automatically loaded to your card with the ultimate ballpark access. If you've got ticket partners or friends, you can easily share and transfer your seats with and to them online. Includes Major League Baseball's first and only online loyalty program, seats, upgrades, parking, and ballpark experiences. For more info, go to nationals.com/access. And your intuitive online account is just a click away. It's the next generation of ticketing, and your card is your access to Nationals Park.
The way we understood it, you could put e-money on that card. There's going to be special lines and concession stands to where you just walk right up and buy your favorite food in the whole world, Bob Carpenter, the hot dog.
And maybe more than one. And it's not, we're not talking about a card you're going to swipe. It's more like a fob type card that you might use to get into your building or your parking garage. And we're not going to have to worry about things being printed out and all that. Your fob will give you, your card fob will give you access. Chris Snyder hits the ball hard. Well played by Brian Bixler at third base, 2 outs.
It might even get you into Bob Carpenter's building.
I don't know why you'd want to. We are full. So Corey Brown is next. Interesting guy. We saw him playing some left field and center field in this ballpark last spring. Chris Marrero is the cleanup man for Adam LaRoche. Corey Brown ended up hitting 200 for the Nats with a homer and 3 RBIs in 19 games. Hit his first Major League home run opposite field at Miller Park in Milwaukee.
A big one, too, if I remember. Extra inning job.
Yep. Guy with some power, line drive hitter, speed, and a very strong arm in the outfield. Corey Brown, 5+ years in the minors, hitting over 260 and stealing more than 50 bases. Got punched out, didn't like the call. Jeff Gosney punched him out. 2 Ks for Josh Edgen in the 5th inning, and on to the 6th. Nationals on top. We're bundling up a little bit more as the night goes on. It's getting cool at Space Coast Stadium, down to 62 degrees, 69 at game time. There's the Gator. Vieira, if you haven't been down here, about a 45-mile drive to the east and just a little bit south from the Orlando airport. Here's Yuneski Maya. who will take over after Zach Duke gave up a run on 3 hits in 2 innings. Maya spent all of last year, 28 starts at Syracuse, went 11-10 with a 3.88 ERA. Not a strikeout guy, just under 5 strikeouts per 9 innings, but opponents only hit 248 against him.
89 strikeouts versus 40 walks at the AAA level. Fastball, slider, curveball, change, split for Maya. Fastball get up there about 89 miles an hour. Loves the curveball.
KIRK NIEUWENHUIS will lead off for the Mets. In the top of the 6th inning, he'll lace one to left. Tyler Moore's got a beat on that one. Now that's a ball that might normally be a base hit, but tonight it carries to the left fielder. It is just so lively. I mean, during batting practice, Ian Desmond, Danny Espinosa, Steve Lombardozzi, and Anthony Rendon were just wearing out that platform out there where some fans enjoy some refreshment during the game. And we saw Anthony Rendon, and Bryce Harper called it in midair on the way there. He went scoreboard during BP today. That's what was going on out there. Pretty good poke.
That's definitely a 2-club wind.
Travis d'Arnaud, the catcher, he's gone all the way so far. 1 for 2 with a double, a run scored last time. Maya, the 3rd Nats pitcher of the night. Strasburg went 3, gave up a run. Duke went 2, gave up a run. And a ball sinking, well hit to left. Travis d'Arnaud 2 for 3.
Well, you can see why they like this young kid they got from the Blue Jays. A couple of great at-bats tonight. After grounding out to short his first time up, hit it pretty well. A double and a single. So, like you said, 2 for 3. And Terry Collins has to like what he sees from his young prospect that he received in the R.A. Dickey trade.
Looks like one change on the infield. Zach Walters for Ian Desmond at shortstop now. And Brandon Hicks, the hitter, a walk and a fly ball to right, 0 for 1. Maya pulls the string on it. There's Zach Walters. Non-roster guys getting a look here. Zach played at Potomac, Harrisburg, and Syracuse last year. And he hit 12 home runs. Middle infielder with a little bit of pop. And Maya, much to the hitter's surprise, threw a fastball right down the middle. And Brandon Hicks could not pull the trigger. 2 outs.
And sometimes that's the last place you're looking for it as a hitter. Fastball right down the middle, and Hicks obviously wasn't. Good pitch from Maya.
Omar Quintanilla will be next. He laced that ground rule double over the head of Tyler Moore last time for the RBI back in the 4th. Got the Mets back even 2-2. But then Anthony Rendon, after hits by Desmond and Moore, put the Nationals back ahead, bottom of the 4th. And it's still 3-2, even though the Mets have out-hit Washington 7-5.
A lot of times you come into a major league game like Zach Walters has, and you're a non-roster guy, a younger player, you see him stretching out right there. I get butterflies myself still up in the booth when I'm thinking about the younger players getting into a big league game for the first time, maybe their first camp. Game moves very fast, and you start thinking, wow, the major league managers over there in the dugout, the GMs in the stands. You know, maybe they've watched me play at the minor league level, but now I'm standing on a major league field, and it becomes tough to slow that game down. And if you can and make an impression. The one thing I talked to Bob Henley today, he said that when he sends minor league guys over for major league camp, the one thing he's most proud of, as you look at the pickoff throw to first, d'Arnaud getting back, is that there's no fear in these guys' eyes. Everybody they send over here, they preach that at the minor league camp. You know, we're going to be fearless. We belong there. You belong in the major leagues. You're going to get there someday. You're going to win a National League East title. And to see these guys come over and just fit in perfectly and not be scared, That's not normal. Usually guys get into a major league game as a young player. You're feeling it. You're feeling the fact that, wow, I'm standing on a major league field, and, you know, that's Danny Espinosa to my left, and, you know, I'm in the big leagues now. Where's Bob Henley right there? Does a fine job on the minor league side for the Nationals. I think he's going to make a great major league manager someday, somewhere.
A teacher he is, and you found out at camp last year, quite a leader over there. They've got a good thing going over there with the camaraderie and the way they compete with each other. There is a specific plan in place, and it is going on.
Oh, he's a Nats field coordinator on the minor league side, and he's told these guys for years at the minor league level that you're going to win a National League East title. And they talked about it. They preach it. He gets all the kids together at home plate every season, first couple of days of camps, and he says, show me how many guys here have won a ring. And he said his first year as field coordinator, a couple hands went up. Now he says that, and there's rings all over the place. Guys have won championships at the minor league level. They talk openly about winning the National League East and winning World Series, and you're seeing the results. All the young kids like Tyler Moore, Lombard Ozzie, Bryce Harper that came up last year and helped the club win, all starts at the minor league level with guys like that. And there's a million of them down there, too many to name, but you know, it's a thankless job. They ride the buses. They bust their tails to get these guys to the big league level to help the team win. I don't think there's a better minor league system in baseball than the Washington Nationals.
Brian Bixler will be the hitter with 2 on, 2 out. Strikeout, ground out back to the pitcher. 2 on, 2 outs with the tying run at second base. Breaking ball was hanging a bit, and that's going to tie the game. Around to score, Travis d'Arnaud, another runner to third base. And the Mets are back even, 3-3 here in the 6th.
And Brian Bixler with a well-placed doinker into left field off the end of the bat. Gets the job done with 2 outs, ties this ball game up. So a lot of times that barrel's overrated. A lot of base hits on the end of the bat. Brian Bixler will not throw that one back, even if it is spring training.
And Jordany Valdespin, who Zach Duke retired last inning. In here with a lead run at third base now. Mets about hit the Nationals now, 8-5. Maya will fire it over to Marrero. And we talked about the speed of Brian Bixler. There's your lead runner, Omar Quintanilla, drew that 2-out walk. Maya fires a little bit low for ball 1. One and 1 in 10 games, 5 starts for the 2011 Nationals with a 5.23 ERA in 33 innings.
Come on, one.
2 years ago, fighting for a spot in this rotation. This is how things have changed. Now some guys who used to fight for spots aren't really on the major league radar. Squaring around to bunt, Valdespin hit by that pitch. Thing wickedly coming in on his knee, and he's hobbled. The bases are loaded.
That's twice tonight that Valdespin has squared around a bunt and got a ball thrown right at him. Steven Strasburg went with his best Nolan Ryan imitation. Valdespin squared around last time up. He got one about neck high, and that time Yuneski Maya drills him in the knee.
Yeah, and your first reaction on a play like that, well, did he offer it the ball? It appeared on the replay that Valdespin did pull the bat back. So here we are at Space Coast Stadium in Vieira, Florida. Our first Masson telecast of the 2013 season. Bob Carpenter, F.P. Santangelo, and the Nats Mets tied up at 3 here.
And we'll talk about it more as we approach opening day. Your 30th year as a major league announcer.
Wow.
It's a pretty good run, partner.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
I'm hoping I can make it through 3.
I like your chances. Wilmer Flores, by the way, the pinch runner at first base.
Broadcasting big league games for 30 years. That's something.
There's Wilmer Flores, whose father wasn't born when I did my first game.
Well, that's a good thing. Not too many broadcasters can say that.
Hot shot to the third base side, and Anthony Rendon very smooth over there. 5-4 on the force. Mets tie it. We are 3-3 after 5.5. Well, it's ladies' night here at the ballpark. Having a good time at spring training. They're watching an entertaining game. 13 hits in the ball game. The Nats and the Mets are tied 3-3. We'll see Chris Marrero and Mr. Walters, young Mr. Zach Walters, will lead things off here in the bottom of the 6th. Adam LaRoche is on headset with us from the dugout. Adam, thanks for joining us. First of all, a couple of ABs tonight. And first of all, I know we've told you this privately, but we want our fans back home to know we are so happy you're back with the ball club. How do you feel about re-signing with the Nats and being part of a very good thing going on here right now?
Man, it feels great. It was a long off season there for a while. I was pretty clear leaving last year that this is where I wanted to end up. Early on, I thought this was the spot, and we went through probably a month there where it didn't look real good. So luckily ended up here and put all that behind us.
Well, I would love to have been a fly on the wall for some of those conversations you had with Mike Rizzo on the phone.
We had some good ones. You know, we had a couple live too that were pretty entertaining. I came down to Davies golf tournament and caught Riz out in the hallway, so we had a little heart to heart.
Well, talk about that. How many GMs have you played for in your career where you could do something like that?
Not many. And it was a frustrating process, but also a lot of respect for Riz. You know, very, very professional in the whole deal. And we had some laughs during the time, and I understood his side of it and the team's side, and I think he understood where I was coming from.
Well, part of that process involved, if you sign with somebody else, draft picks, and they get first-round picks. I think that's a ridiculous rule. I've seen some of your quotes on it. It affects who you can sign, who you can't sign in the offseason.
That's a good-looking fly ball by Chris Marrero. Run down in the corner, and it gets loose. And Chris Marrero will be at second base leading off in the bottom of the 6th. Adam, your thoughts on that, because we know you were quoted on that very issue.
Yeah, it was a little frustrating. I don't know that our side of it or the owner's side knew the full effects of that contract, of that deal. And to be honest, I turned out okay. You know, we've got a couple guys still at the house. Kyle Lowe's being one of them. an incredible pitcher that can't find a job, and a lot of it's because of that. So I don't know what's going to happen about it. I know it was frustrating, and it gets rid of some of the competition when you're going into free agency.
Did Davey ever show up to work on your land up there in Kansas? Didn't he offer to come up and work for you?
He
for a
did.
while?
He didn't follow through. We've talked about that.
Well, you guys got a lot of snow up there recently, so maybe he's just not going to do that.
Yeah, I think he's out. He's too old for that anyway.
Adam, it was really late in the season. I remember a conversation you and I had right at the end of the season, kind of like your season in Arizona. You got to 100 RBIs like right at the finish line last year, and it's just a number. But I know to guys like you, that triple-digit thing does mean something, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. It does. You work the whole year. In the middle of the lineup, your goal is 100 RBIs. I mean, if you go over that, or it would be really frustrating to finish at 98 or 99. And on the other hand, I look back and missed a lot of opportunities too. So had some chances to drive in more, but I'll take it.
And, of course, you won the Gold Glove. And we've known for a number of years how good you were at first base. So many good first basemen in baseball. It's tough to get that recognition. Does that validate a few things for you that you did win that award?
It does. It does. I was lucky enough to win the Silver Slugger and the Gold Glove last year. And that Gold Glove means a lot. That's something I've always taken a lot of pride in. And the biggest reason over at first is because I can save some errors over there. I can save some runs, save pitch counts, and help the infielders out. So that was pretty special to win that one.
Silver Slugger, Gold Glove, not bad for a guy who was told late in spring training last year that he may be platooning at first base. I talked to Davey Johnson about that today. He said you got off to your best start ever last year. He might come up to you this year, last week in camp, and tell you you're platooning again at first base.
Yeah, I thought you might bring that up.
Out of play to the left side. We're going to look at your 33rd home run of the year right here. Got you to 100 RBIs against the Phillies. I tell you, Adam, when you're swinging the bat well, we marvel upstairs because you look almost effortless with that fluid swing of yours. And how many curtain calls have you taken in your career? You're not jumping out of the dugout unless somebody puts you out there, are you?
No, I don't do that too often. So that was pretty neat.
Well, some of my favorite moments last year is when you hit those home runs and you came back to the dugout and gave your son Drake a hug. I mean, there was a great article in the Washington Post recently about you and your son spending spring training together. Talk about that. What's that like to be in a major league ballpark with your boy every single day? You did it with your dad. Now you're doing it with your son.
You can't beat it. I've been in the game a little while and been to playing some postseason. And had some big games and some really neat things happen, but those are still some of my best moments. Spending time with Drake here in spring training or even during the season, coming down after a home run and having him on the top step, and something I'll never forget. I grew up doing it. My dad was coaching while we were younger, and he'd take us to the ballpark. We'd come to spring training. And I always said that I wanted to, have my kids grow up the same way. So far we're doing it.
Adam, we're all going to miss Mike Morse. With DENARD Span coming aboard, how complete now is this ball club?
It was huge, and you guys know it. That was a hole in our lineup. We had some really good hitters, but nobody that filled that leadoff spot. When you put Jason in the leadoff hole, something's wrong there. He needs to be in a position to score some runs and drive in some runs. He did a great job, but that's not his spot in the lineup. So they filled a big void. We lost a big bat, but on the other hand, Jason kind of moves down and fills that hole where Mike was.
Yeah, and the capable hitters then. I mean, you're going all the way down to the 7 and 8 holes with guys who can do damage and drive in runs now.
Pretty impressive. I think you look at this entire ball club from pin to our rotation and our lineup, and it's dangerous. We knew we were good last year. But again, that's on paper, and coming out of spring, we still got something to prove and a long way to go.
And what's the mindset for you coming off that fantastic season, personally?
Stay healthy, and that was the biggest part last year. And I said that I don't set a lot of personal goals. I want to be healthy again. That was a lot of fun after coming off the year before that and sitting watching to be able to come back and play a full season and be healthy for a full season. That's the goal.
Adam, we appreciate your time, buddy. I'm sure, Davey, you're a manager's dream because you don't go out and say a whole lot. You just do a lot. And as broadcasters, we love watching you day after day, buddy. And All the best this year and stay healthy.
Great, guys. Thank you.
And it's past Drake's bedtime. We'll see you tomorrow.
It's past my bedtime.
Adam LaRoche. Nobody in this game talks more with his bat and his glove on the field than that guy. You will never hear anybody who played with him say anything bad about Adam LaRoche, the consummate teammate, the consummate pro.
Well, a lot of times as a player, Bob, you can lead by example, and I think the greatest leaders that I ever played with weren't rah-rah guys in the dugout, weren't guys that held meetings in the clubhouse. They just went out there every single day and quietly got the job done. So whether he's got his glove on or he's at the plate in a big situation, you're looking at the MVP of the Nationals last year and one of their leaders, and he doesn't do it vocally. He does it by his presence and what he does between the lines for 9 innings every single night.
Out of the game. No, he's not back on the bench, cutting up with the guys. Not back in the clubhouse. He's a railbird watching opposing pitchers.
Well, he's also a veteran and knows he's on camera, too. So
he never knows. He might be facing Elvin Ramirez in August with a game on the line. 3 balls and 2 strikes now. Danny Espinosa working the count a bit. And he's also fouled off a couple of pitches to keep this AB alive.
I just think that's the coolest thing in the world, him bringing Drake to the ballpark every day. I did that with my son. I brought him to the field every single day. And he was a lot younger than Drake and doesn't remember it a lot. But we would be in the car, and I remember telling him as we go to the ballpark, it's the only place, buddy, where you have no rules. There's no rules at the ballpark. I'll see you in about 4 hours. And he would just disappear with different players' sons, and I think my son was about 7 years old when he realized that everybody's dad was not a Major League Baseball player. He just thought that's what dads did.
3-2, good at bat by Danny Espinosa. Showing a good eye, some selectivity in there. Danny's on for the 2nd time tonight, doubled earlier. That'll bring in Tyler Moore here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Subscribe to MLB.TV Premium. You can do that today and watch over 150 select spring training games live. Plus every regular season game live or on demand on over 250 mobile and connected devices. Visit nationals.com for details.
A lot of friends watching on that tonight on their computers, checking out the ball game at home.
We welcome all of you. Pinch runner is Will Rhymes for Danny Espinosa. Will Rhymes, who absolutely cracked me up at Nats Fest when he told the story about getting hit by a pitch in Detroit last year. He was dazed, and while he was still on the field, he finally, they think he lost consciousness for a moment. And when he came to, you know, they asked him that question, "Who are you?" He looked up at the guy and said, "I am Batman." Will Rhymes lives over in Alexandria. He went to school locally.
Was he joking or was he serious?
He was joking, and they were like,
did they take him out?
I'm telling you, this guy is hilarious.
Did they get him a cape?
I am Batman. Will Rhymes running for Danny Espinosa. And a 1-1, Tyler Moore takes it low. And a breaking ball. Tyler lays off. Right now the Nats showing some good eye at the plate. Danny Espinosa had a nice base on balls, and now Tyler Moore being selective.
Elvin Ramirez showing Tyler Moore a little respect with a 2-1 curveball.
Tyler Moore 1 for 2 with an infield hit. And a fly ball to right that was nearly an extra base hit. That ball ripped. Backhand Brian Bixler has to pop up and throw. Tyler Moore has another infield hit. Bixler backhand side, not an easy play. Actually, that is not Brian Bixler anymore. That is Josh Satin over at third base.
Tyler Moore wearing out the third baseman tonight. Satin, Bixler, doesn't matter who. A couple hard balls to the backhand side. Satin having trouble getting to his feet. That allowed Tyler Moore, this speedy, scrappy leadoff style Tyler Moore, to have his second infield single tonight.
Also pitch running to first base, number 19, Carlos Rivero.
Carlos Rivero, talented infielder, and the Nats like this guy a lot. He is short on options, and they'd hate to lose him. So he's going to be the pinch runner, and then power-hitting corner infielder Matt Skoll will be the pinch hitter. And he's an intriguing guy who put up some big single-A numbers last year, and then they sent him to Arizona and put him at first base.
He is a large human. Standing next to him today, he should have some pop. 6'4", 230 pounds. 23-year-old from Woodstock, Georgia.
Matt Skoll this spring, 2 for 8. Looking for his first RBI, and he's got the bases loaded here with 1 out, bottom 6. Nats have a chance to break this game open. So at third base, Chris Marrero led off the inning with that bloop double. And then Danny Espinosa walked. Will Rhymes ran for him. And now Carlos Rivero running for Tyler Moore, who sits down 2 for 3 tonight. Upstairs, 3-0.
You let the kid hack right here. I do. You play the 3-0 green light game already?
FP Greenlight Santangelo managing tonight's hitters.
Yes. Everybody has a green light on my club, on my fantasy team.
Well, he took it. That's an RBI, and that's good. Nets lead 4-3 on a good AB by Matt Skoll. Now, Ramirez is struggling with control, but some of his pitches haven't missed by that much. And the Nats have walked a couple of times in this inning.
Your attention please, ladies and gentlemen. Pinch hitting for Tracy, number 1, Steve Lombardo.
So everybody moves up. And I'm telling you, when I walked into the clubhouse yesterday and I saw Steve Lombardozzi, this man must have done serious off-season work in the weight room. He looks fantastic. Not that he needed it that much, but I mean, he is not a slender AAA guy just in the major leagues anymore. He is some kind of put together, and it's going to be an interesting season for Steve based on how much playing time Davey Johnson can give him.
Well, as a utility guy last year, he had over 300 at-bats. Tough out, puts the ball in play. Not afraid to stick his nose in there. And whenever Davey Johnson put him anywhere last year, he responded. Whether it was left field, third base. You remember he played third base for a while. Did a nice job at second base, filling in for Ian Desmond when Danny Espinosa went to shortstop.
273 with 27 RBIs. 287 from this side of the plate. Lombardozzi gets jammed out into short right. It won't carry, and that ball put away. For the second out of the inning. Back to the top of the order now for Yuri Perez.
Back to the top batting order of the Nationals, the right fielder, number 16, Yuri Perez.
The ball caught by Wilmer Flores, now playing second base for the Mets. Wilmer Flores. Yuri Perez, first at bat, leading off the fifth, struck out swinging against Josh Edgin, the lefty. Ball 1 off the plate, away. Nats are getting close to using all of their extra men here. The only players that have not come into the game now are all catchers. All the position players are now in for the starters. In the air to right. Nationals are gone in the top of the sixth inning, but they've taken the lead on the bases loaded walk to the hitter Matt Skoll. 4-3 Washington. There's our game summary. We're into the late innings for the first time this spring. 4-3 Nationals. They've been out hit 8-7 by the Mets. Ian Desmond in the middle of things with a base hit back in the 4th inning. Anthony Rendon, another good ball game. The guy's having a good spring. He is 5 out of 12 with 5 RBIs. Zach Duke. So Rendon, Strasburg, some young guys getting it done tonight.
A good chance for Nats fans. A good look at DENARD span tonight, and also Anthony Rendon. Nice swing right there. Got big on a 3-1 hack, swung through it, shortened up on a 3-2 hack, and hit the double to right center there. The little RBI ground out, 6-4 for his second RBI of the night. And like I said, looks comfortable up there. Looks like he belongs.
Another inning for Yuneski Maya, who had a long 6th, facing 7 batters. Now he gives up his 3rd base hit.
That's a good turn right there by Dendecker. That's how you round first base on a single. So many times at the major league level, you watch guys get a simple base hit. They barely get to first base. They turn to the coach and hand their gloves to him. Dendecker right there looking for 2, looking for a bobble. And for you kids at home, that's the way you run around first base when you get a single. Don't be satisfied with just the single. Look for a bobble in the outfield. Come blowing around that bag. You never know what happens. That's the way you play the game. Nice job. Little things like that get me excited, as you know if you've listened the last couple of years.
Absolutely. Jamie Hoffman takes over as the DH for Andrew Brown. So the top of the 7th, the Mets still collecting base hits. They were kind of like that last year. They were a pesky singles and doubles type team. David Wright just didn't have a huge supporting cast last year. Jason Bay had another rough season. And of course, Jose Reyes had moved on to Miami and now Toronto. I tell you, FP, I know they don't play on paper, but how good does that Toronto ball club look right now? Wow, are they loaded.
You mean the Marlins?
Mark Burley, Josh Johnson, Jose Reyes. I mean, wow. Runner going. Snyder's throw short and off to the left side. How about that pick by Will Rhymes to make it sort of close? So you talked about Dendecker looking for the extra bag. Well, he grabs one right there.
Yeah, big time prospect. Just a rolling start right there. And you see the speed. You saw the base hit. I'll tell you what, just that stride right there. And I know I do this a lot, but I look like the manager from the Arizona Diamondbacks in his prime right there. Kirk Gibson stealing second base.
Jamie Hawthorne takes one, tailing to the inside corner.
You get into a big league game, I don't care what inning it is, and you do stuff like he's just done, the base hit with the big turn, steal a base. That's how you get noticed. That's how you make a ball club.
Might have been a busted bat. Will Rhymes handles it. Runner over to third with one out here in the top of the 7th. So that's the tying run. Nats keep taking the lead. Mets keep pecking away. Juan Lagares, who has taken over in right field, will be the hitter here. And Maya throws one in there, tailing to the inner half. At third base, Dendecker. The tying run, Matt Dendecker. Infield playing in.
And I don't know that Davey Johnson would do that during the regular season. Up by 1, top of the 7th inning. Bring his infield in with one out, but it's just another example of something maybe you work on in spring training. Bring him in, try to keep that lead with the confidence that he has in his offense. I don't know if he'd do that during the regular season.
Maya with that good breaking ball. He's always had a good curveball when he's been able to get it near the strike zone. If he gets behind and has to throw his fastball, that's when he's gotten in trouble. Runner at third, one out. And a 1-2 pitch. Right down the middle again. A hitter guessing wrong. Yuneski Maya has 2 strikeouts in his 2 innings, and both of them were similar pitches right down Capitol Avenue.
Well, when you have a guy that throws a curveball, a split, a slider, and a change, the last thing as a hitter you're looking for is a fastball. And we've seen it twice tonight where Yuneski Maya has absolutely locked up hitters with a 4-seam fastball right down the middle with 2 strikes.
Pardon me, South Capitol Street. Right down there, and 2 outs now. So trying to keep the Nats in the lead. Catcher Landon Powell is the hitter. Two for 4 this spring, looking for his first RBI. And they got a 2 for 3 night from Travis d'Arnaud, who started at catcher, scored a couple of runs. He'll be an interesting player to keep an eye on wherever he starts for the Mets this year. I read the Mets have vacated New Orleans, and their AAA will be Las Vegas this year. Blue Jays were in Las Vegas.
That is one place that would get me released in about a week.
Send Santangelo to San Antonio, or
can you send me to AA or A-ball, because I'm not going to make it in Vegas. You know that check that I get on the 1st and the 15th? Yeah. Might miss a few games. Not good.
Well, at least you're not in denial.
Yeah.
3 balls and no strikes. Maya gets one in there to Landon Powell. Nats on top, 4-3, top of the 7th inning here at Space Coast Stadium. Low, 2 on, 2 out. Maya's second walk, he's also hit a batter.
The first baseman, number 12, Brandon.
And the hitter will be Brandon Hicks, 0 for 2 with a walk. Nationals.com for all your ticket information this season. The Nats will open on April 1st against the Fish, day off, a couple of more games, on to Cincinnati for 3, and then a bona fide homestand right on the heels of that. Nationals will be home for the first week and a half of the first 2 weeks of the season, and then play a lot of other home games in April as well. It'll be important for the ball club to get out of the gate. We'll spend a lot of time on the road in May, including a West Coast swing, which is a little earlier than usual.
And it's a real deal West Coast swing. Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Francisco, I believe, like the old days.
Like the old days of 2 divisions. You get out there and stay for a week and a half.
Yeah.
Fly right over Colorado and Arizona on your way there. Not anymore, but this year it is. Brandon Hicks, 0 for 5 this spring with a walk. Maya, way inside.
I was thinking on the fly, Carp, that might be a tough road trip to get some knocks on if you're a hitter. Giants staff, Dodgers staff, Padres have a good young staff.
Boy, the Dodgers are loaded. But those Giants, man, they got a way of getting it done, and getting it done the right way. A lot of people thought they were done, down 3-1 in the National League Championship Series. I'm sure Bruce Bochy didn't think they were done, and they weren't. And then they totally went out and dominated a very good Detroit team.
Yeah, they were the quintessential backs-to-your-wall ball club, down 2-0 against Cincinnati.
Is Marco Scudero now the guy who will never pay for a meal in San Francisco again?
He is the mayor, the governor of California, you name it.
He wouldn't want that job. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Brandon Hicks. Long innings here for Yuneski Maya in the 6th and the 7th. He's facing his 12th hitter, having gotten just 5 outs. Breaking ball gets away right through Chris Snyder, and this game is tied again.
Let's see if this is a wild pitch or a pass ball. That's going to be a tough call. I don't know if it hit the dirt, but it went 5-hole on Snyder, allowing the tie-in run to cross.
So Maya now has given up 2 runs on 3 hits, 2 walks, a hit batter, and a breaking ball not able to be handled. Now the lead runs at second base.
This might be the old trick him with the fastball down the middle pitch.
He tried it, and Hicks able to foul it away.
A lot of times Maya likes that curveball in a 3-2 count, especially with 2 outs. Went with the fastball again. It's been successful for him. 2 strikes.
They did call that a wild pitch. And the Nats are out of the inning, but the game's tied again. Ugly couple of frames there. But it's 7th inning stretch time, and the Nats have 3 at-bats left if needed in a 4-4 game. The ballpark tonight. Bottom of the 7th coming up. Nationals are down to their final 9 outs if needed. 4-4 ball game. Our copyrighted broadcast presented by authority of the Washington Nationals Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. Bob Carpenter, FP Santangelo, and our great travel crew, our Masson guys with us here. Chip Winfield, Doug Yalacki, Mike Dressman, our travel guys, and all the folks down in this area hanging with us. And we can't forget about Josh Hull, who rode his bicycle all the way down here from Washington.
Nice
trip, Josh.
Yeah.
That's Scott Rice, who will take over as the 5th New York pitcher of the night. Chris Snyder will lead off, followed by Corey Brown and Chris Marrero. Scott Rice, non-roster guy for the Mets, left-hander looking to make the ball club.
2-3 with a 4.40 AAA for the Dodgers last year. 47 strikeouts, 22 walks.
That ball laced into left.
And a base hit here to start this outing out.
Yeah, Chris Snyder, nice level swing, got all of it.
Nice, gets a fastball up right here in the zone on top of it. Catches it out in front. Little Jason Worth style bat flip toward the dugout. And a base hit for Chris Snyder.
Corey Brown, lefty on lefty. Struck out looking first time up tonight, taken over for in the batter's lineup for Jason Worth, and then playing center field.
Have you been practicing your see you laters? Because I feel like there's one this inning somewhere.
Do you?
Yeah. Golf course today when you're hitting them in the water, screaming it?
No, those balls aren't lost. They're just missing.
All right.
I played the whole round with one ball today.
Yeah, sure you did.
First time for everything.
That's good. So you didn't have to say see you later, your golf ball.
One ball and one strike to Corey Brown. Thought about trying it during a basketball telecast this winter, but it just didn't work. You know, on a fast break, like a dunk or something, but
no.
I just couldn't do it.
No.
Couldn't do it. Somebody hits one to left field, we got a shot.
Maybe somebody got ejected from the game.
2-1 pitch to his left, and Flores unable to get it. That ball, severe top spin, and Corey Brown gets one through. The Nats right back at it, trying to retake the lead again. 2 on, nobody out, with Chris Marrero coming up.
Foot down early, little top spin job. It almost looked like Wilmer Flores didn't want to catch this ball, kind of ran away from it. At the last second, gave it a little stab. Funny angle to the baseball. But Brown will take it, base hit.
Marrero, opposite field double. First time tonight. Offered at it, and that ball tailing away from him. Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The one thing, if you're Chris Marrero, you have to realize is, even though, as you look at Snyder and Brown on the bases, even though the inn is full at first base, meaning LaRoche, Tyler Moore, maybe, you know, Ryan Zimmerman late in his career, there's other teams watching you every single day. And if you can play this game at a high level, at the major league level, somebody will find a place for you sooner or later. And I think Chris Marrero is a bona fide big league baseball player. It's just, there's nowhere to go right now. That hamstring injury really killed him here in this organization.
So now an at bat for Zach Walters. Zach is a switch hitting infielder, born in Wyoming, lives in Las Vegas. 269 at Potomac, 293 Harrisburg, 214 Syracuse last year. Finished up with 29 games in upstate New York.
That was a lot of packing.
It was. Walters listed at 6'3", 195. He's just 23. This is the young man the Nats got 2 years ago when they traded Jason Marquis to the Diamondbacks at the trading deadline. He'll take one down and in. He was a single-A guy hitting .302 at South Bend that year, and then he would come to the Nationals organization, hit .293 at Potomac. Career .287 minor league hitter with 159 RBIs, so he's got some run producing ability. And a 1-2 right off the end of the bat. He'll hustle as that ball flirted with the line until it went well foul. And there's the aforementioned Will Rhymes. from the College of William and Mary. Well hit up the middle. Here comes Snyder lumbering around third, and Trent Jewett will hold him. The bases are loaded for Will Rhymes with only one out here in the seventh.
Nice two-strike adjustment right there from Zach Walters. Spread out, took a little bit out of his swing. Thinking about going right back up the middle. Yeah, no stride right there. Short, compact swing. And we get a first look at Trent Jewett as a third base coach, doing a nice job holding up Chris Snyder. And there's Tony Tarasco, the newest member of the Nationals coaching staff, former teammate of mine in Montreal. Friends with Jeffrey Mayer. There's Trent Jewett.
And a bouncer to the right side from Will Rhymes, who took over as a pinch runner for Danny Espinosa after Danny walked last inning. Tony Tarasco is going to join us tonight, so I may let you guys go at it for a while.
Great teammate. Always had a smile on his face. Positive guy, ready to play every single day. And a pretty good player, too.
Yes, he was. Will Rhymes, couple of seasons, part-time duty with the Tigers in 2010 and 11. 47 games at the big league level with Tampa Bay last year. Nats signed him as a minor league free agent in the middle of January. Found himself a week later at Nats Fest with all the guys. And the 0-2. Into left. Shallow. No chance at all for Snyder to tag. 2 outs. That ball was caught by Cesar Puello in left field.
Nice.
Left fielder, 19, Carlos Rivera.
We're getting them gradually as they come in. Carlos Rivero from Venezuela, 303 with 64 RBIs at Syracuse last year. Highly thought of in the organization. But he's been around for a while, and from what I was told, he is out of options. That ball is well hit out to center field. It'll be run down out there. And the Nats will strand 3 base runners who all singled in the 7th inning. They've left 9. And we go to the 8th in a 4-4 game. right now because it's a tie game. One of them will leave the ballpark pretty unhappy tonight, and we hope it's the nice lady on the right. On to the top of the 8th inning. The Nats will go further into the bullpen. We'll tell you more about Patrick McCoy in a moment. But first, we'd like to welcome the newest member of the coaching staff over there at first, Tony Tarasco. Tony, thanks for joining us, and welcome to the Nats.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on tonight.
That helmet you got on kind of looks like it should have 2 beer holders in it.
Yeah, it's
with the headphone you got.
It's a little heavy on my head.
How's it feel, man? Congratulations. Big league coach, former teammate in Montreal. I was probably the best day I had all winter. And there's Tom Goodwin, another former teammate of mine, the Mets first base coach.
Say hi to SP.
Tell Goody tell Goody Good I said hello.
He said what's up.
I was just getting to probably the happiest day I had all winter when the Nats named you a major league coach. Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much, man. It's a real honor to be a part of this organization and a part of this big league team. A chance to work with Davey again and be on that squad with all these amazing players that we got out here.
And Tony, I've been talking a lot about the minor league side. Obviously now you're a major league coach, but the job you guys all did down at the minor league level, getting these kids ready to play at the big league level, not just ready to play up here, but ready to win championships up here. Talk about that for a second.
Well, the attitude starts from down there. The way they run the bases down there, the way Bobby Henley and Doug Harris have got these guys moving in the right track. It's really an attitude and a mentality that starts from the lower levels all the way on through, and it's just a real pleasure to see it run through the organization and then land here in the big leagues. And you guys got like guys like Harper and Lombardozzi out there busting tail, and Desmond out there being a leader.
And Tony, you've been a great part of some really good organizations. Braves for a couple of years in the 90s when they were embarking on that run of theirs. The Reds, the Yankees, you played in Japan for a while, little time with the Mets and the Orioles. When you look top to bottom at this ball club, the talent you see in a major league uniform and those coming up, what are your impressions of what you're a part of here?
Well, I'll tell you what, you've named some really good teams, but I got to tell you, this is a great team too, and all the way around it, the stellar outfield, all the way with the middle infielders, and of course the great pitching staff that runs here. You got the greatness in the makings right now.
Patrick McCoy is from Tucson. He was 7-3 in 50 games at AA Harrisburg a year ago with a 3.70 ERA, 24-year-old left-hander. Getting some work here. He got Tovar on the fly ball. Now he faces Josh Satin here in the 8th as we visit with Tony Tarasco, the Nationals' new first base coach. Tony, first base coach, a lot of folks don't know all that's involved over there. It's a whole lot more than not getting guys picked off and all that. I mean, it's getting from first to third. It's handling bunt plays correctly. You're a busy guy over there, even though at times it doesn't look like it compared to third base.
Well, yeah, I try to do my little part. The first base coach has to have good chemistry with the third base coach, know what he's up to, know what he's getting ready to call. Also, spending some time trying to remind guys of things they might forget over at first base, trying to give the base stealers keys to look for, give them the times, just helping these guys prepare so that they can go out there and do what they do.
Have you been practicing your back call, and can you give it to us on the air right now?
Well, I'm waiting to unveil that on opening day, so I'm going to hold off right now.
It's spring training. You don't want to give us your best back?
Yeah, not yet.
Is it high pitched? Is it low pitched?
Well, it's
different.
It's a little deeper on lefties than it is on right-handers. Usually I'm a little tad late anyways because I don't want to be wrong.
Bases empty, 2 outs, couple of outs here for Patrick McCoy, and Wilmer Flores will be the hitter for the Mets. Tony, as you look at the ball club now, from what you know, who are the base runners who are really going to make a difference in this season for Washington?
Well, I mean, you can't just name one here. I mean, you got a lot of speed and you got a lot of smarts out there. I mean, you can take the addition of Span being out there. You know, he's going to add a few bags for us, but you already got Jason Worth and Harper who run, who bust tail when they run. Ian Desmond's a great base stealer. Espino's a great base stealer. Zimmerman's a heads-up runner. He's always taking the extra base when he's hitting. So I think the whole team's attitude with base runners is pretty important, and it's pretty stable here.
And you worked with Bryce Harper a lot in the minor league level as far as becoming an outfielder, but you also worked with him on his base running. And I think all Nats fans and you yourself know that Bryce is fearless on the bases, not afraid to take chances. Talk about you seeing him at an early level and how he ran the bases aggressively, and he's just taken that right to the major league level.
Well, I mean, it was a pleasure to watch. The first thing that you always want your kids to be is aggressive, and he was aggressive from day one. You know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword sometimes. So he had his, his opportunities where he took the chance and he learned from his mistakes. But most of the time, he was able to make things happen.
In the air right field, Yuri Perez is under it. Tony, again, welcome to the ball club. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Love the helmet with the beer holders. It's a good look on you.
Tony Tarasco named Nationals first base coach November 14th. And on to the bottom of the 8th in a tie game. It's a little chillier here, down to 60 degrees in the 8th inning at Space Coast Stadium in Vieira, Florida. And a final reminder, just keep an eye out for all this great stuff going on for National season plan holders. You will be given a card like a fob, your access to the ballpark. The most exciting new customer-focused innovation in sports arriving at your doorstep in a few weeks. It's easy, fast, and, yes, intuitive. Virtual access. The Nats are the first team to have it. We'll tell you more as we get closer to the regular season, but a great loyalty program online for seats, upgrades, parking, and ballpark experiences. Go to nationals.com/access to check it all out. Here's a guy who can put up some numbers, Matt Skoll. Power hitting corner infielder. The Nats tried him some out in Arizona at first base, and he told me he loved it. He had a great time. That was after hitting .286 in Hagerstown with 27 homers and 92 RBIs and then .314. That was actually after he had .314 in 18 games at Potomac. We talked about the young man from Woodstock, Georgia, a 5th rounder back in 2011. And the Nationals 2012 Minor League Player of the Year. He also has a good batting eye. He walked 141 times.
When you hit that many jacks, people are going to avoid you.
Hey, he made no bones about it. He said, I enjoy being a power hitter. He said, I'm just trying to refine some things. Let's see, along with the 94 walks last year, 116 strikeouts. And those 141 walks, a 2-year total, including 2011 with those Auburn double days. And a 2-2 to Skoll, who fouls it straight back. Went to Georgia Tech, very proud of the baseball alums. Veritech, Nomar, and others, Kevin Brown. Steve Lombardozzi, who's now the DH. That's a little bit high, 3-2. Good take. By the way, his younger brother Jake taken first by the Rangers 3 years ago. Good baseball family and a very tough pitch from the left-hander Scott Rice with the first out, bottom 8. Week from tomorrow, St. Louis will be here, the Nats and the Cardinals. That's a day game. 1 o'clock next Friday, a little matinee. Good excuse to maybe sneak out of somewhere a little early on Friday. Get your weekend started with us right here in Viera for some day baseball.
No offense to the Cardinals. It's a wonderful, storied organization. It has had many wonderful years, but it's going to be hard to see that uniform for the first time again next Friday.
That was a tough one to swallow. And then they had some bitterness of their own, up 3-1 on the Giants. And all of a sudden the San Francisco pitching staff said, you guys aren't going to get any more hits the rest of this series.
They talk about locking it in at the right time. As Terry Collins comes out to make a rare spring training pitching change.
Inning and 2/3 for Rice. According to the sheet we were handed, they have one more pitcher available, and that's right-hander Jeremy Hefner. So Rice will leave, and that is Jeremy Hefner. Back to Viera, our first during inning pitching change of the year. Wow. Eighth inning. Come on out for the main concourse right behind home plate here at Space Coast Stadium. Ballpark that seats 7,200. It's become a chilly night. We're about to get down into the 50s. In fact, we have now. And right-hander Jeremy Hefner will get the call. There's a nice Nats fleece blanket to keep everybody warm. 26-year-old right-hander from Oklahoma who pitched for a very good program at the Division I level at Oral Roberts University. And he'll face Yuri Perez here with 2 outs and the base is empty. Bottom 8.
62 strikeouts versus 18 walks last year for Hefner for the Mets. 4-pitch guy. Fastball, slider, curve change. Fastball run up there in the low 90s. Jeremy Hefner, no relation.
Remember Tom Nieto, Major League catcher. He came out of Oral Roberts. So did Mike Moore. Longtime Oakland Athletics right-handed pitcher. Some good college programs around the country. Yeah, I know several guys named Jeremy that he's not related to. That ball is over to the shortstop side, and it's an infield hit for the very speedy Yuri Perez. He gets the ball on the ground. He is gone.
That's a base hit as soon as it made contact on his bat. You see the ball on the ground in the 5.5 hole. And even if that ball is fielded cleanly, he is still safe with his speed. Let's check out his wheels. Smelling the knock right here. Afterburners. No need to look. You know he's fielded it. Put your head down and run. A lot of young kids make the mistake of watching the whole play develop with their head turned toward the infielder. Once you know the guy's caught the ball, put your head down, pick up the base, and run. It's a lot faster.
Chris Snyder 1 for 2, base at left field last time. Nats have now out-hit the Mets 11-9.
Tie game, bottom of the 8th. He should be off to the races here early in the count.
Turn him loose, Davey. Tony Tarasco, we just talked to you. Turn him loose. This has to be one of the guys he was talking about, too.
I think I heard his back call right there, too.
Perez can fly. Nats have 3 times on base from their leadoff spot tonight. DENARD Span with a double and a walk. He stole a couple of bags. And now Yuri Perez with an infield hit.
Flying at the minor league level equates to stolen bases. Being able to fly at the major league level, there's still a lot that goes into it.
Yep.
You can outrun some bad jumps, you can outrun some mistakes, but you know, when a pitcher's quick to the plate and you got catchers on top of their game, even if you're fast, it doesn't guarantee a stolen base at the highest level.
One of the most enlightening conversations I had years ago was with a good Virginia guy, Mike Cubbage, longtime major league coach. He coached in Houston at third base when they had Bagwell, Derek Bell, some of those guys who could really run. And he told me, he said, I think the mark of a really good running team, not necessarily the bags, but who goes first to third on a base hit,
right,
who gets home on a base hit from second base, you know, taking that extra base here and there and putting pressure on the other team. Flores under it, and this one is going to the top of the 9th, all tied up at 4. Nats and the Mets here at the end of February. Cool night at the ballpark here in Vieira. Nationals and the Mets are 4-4 into the 9th inning. 2, 3, and 4 due up for New York. Schedule highlights, some interleague stuff to talk about. White Sox, look at how early they will be in Washington. And yes, the Nationals play the American League champion Tigers twice. Twins are coming. Indians. Nats will make their first return to Cleveland since Steven Strasburg, I think, made his second major league start over there in 2010. And we're going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here we come.
Not just twice the Tigers, but two game series. How weird is that?
Well, the Nats will play the Orioles two-game series on 4 consecutive nights. So we'll get to see the Kansas City Royals for the first time in a couple of years. The Indians for the first time in a while. And here's Ryan Matthews, who maybe doesn't get enough attention when people are talking about how good this bullpen is and can be.
Well, he got a lot of national attention in the postseason when he came into that game in St. Louis, and I think got 3 outs with 2 pitches. Bases loaded, nobody out, double play, and a ground out. Thanks for coming. And everybody started to notice that turbo sinker that you saw right there. One pitch, one broken bat for Ryan Matthews.
Handled by Skoll over there at third base. Quick out here in the ninth.
Talking to him before the game, his velocity's not there yet. 87 to 92, but he said the sink is definitely there. And you saw a good example of that right there on that pitch.
And if you're wondering about extra innings in spring training games, well, the Mets are right now using their last pitcher that we were told is on the trip, and that's Jeremy Hefner. So I'm sure he could go another inning. Not sure Terry Collins would want him to go beyond that. A lot of times they'll play one extra inning, and that'll be about it. The Nationals still have Billy Bray and Brandon Mann from the left side who haven't pitched tonight. So we'll see how it plays out. Just in case the Mets don't score here or the Nats don't walk off in the bottom of the ninth.
That's my alias on the road for about 2 years, just in case.
One ball and 2 strikes. Matt Dendecker, the hitter. Base hit, stolen base, run scored on a wild pitch. Back in the 7th, so he manufactured the tying run for the Mets. There's Ryan Matthews going with that hard breaking ball. Where he turned that one over. Is that a splitter?
Might have been a split.
Wow. He's got that too.
Fastball slider split, 2-seam fastball, throw a 4-seam fastball, and he needs to throw a strike. And yeah, that was the split finger right there.
Wow.
The punch out pitch for Ryan Matthews. And I don't know if he went right there. He got a caught a break. Yeah, that was not even close. That's a top of the 9th, spring training. I saw your hands move, you're out.
Jamie Hoffman, the DH, is next. That ball hugging the chalk line all the way down there. Oh, what a nice tag by Marrero on the throw by Matt Skoll. Infield corner guys teaming up. And this one's going to the bottom of the 9th. Corey Brown, Chris Marrero, and Zach Walters due up for the Nats. See how cold it's going to get in case this one doesn't finish here in the bottom of the 9th. Nats will have 3, 4, 5 due up against the Mets right-hander Jeremy Hefner. In a 4-4 game, 20 base hits. Nats have had 4 innings tonight of 2 hits or more. Anthony Rendon, a couple of RBIs. Matt Skoll has one from that lineup spot. So here's Hefner facing Corey Brown, Chris Marrero, and Zach Walters, bottom 9.
And if the Nats don't score here, you just go to penalty shots.
Like a home run derby,
yeah.
Everybody in the dugout gets one swing?
Yep.
Corey Brown, since coming in, 1 for 2, base hit to right last time. He's a guy that if you could get him on, would be a base running threat. To the right side, Brandon Hicks plays it to Jeremy Hefner for the first down. That'll bring in Chris Marrero.
Number 14, Chris Marrero.
And there have been situations in spring training games where we might see the managers huddle with the home plate umpire, or maybe Hunter Wendelstedt. I don't know if they designate a crew chief. He's the most experienced guy out there with Ed Hickox, and determine whether you might play one more inning or just call the thing off. As mentioned, the Nats have 2 more pitchers, but Jeremy Hefner is the final Mets pitcher that we're aware of on their travel squad.
Good pitch, buddy!
1 ball and 1 strike. Marrero double, run scored in the 6th. Strikeout swinging in the 7th. And a good take on a breaking ball, diving away. Got the count in his favor.
2-1 count. Tie ball game, bottom of the 9th, 1 out. Power hitter.
TV game.
Why not?
No chance at all to unleash one there. It's 3-1. Winning runs on base with 1 out. Zach Walters put a good swing on the ball last time up, hit it hard up the middle. You might recall we told you he was a switch hitting infielder. So he goes to the left side here. And then left-handed batter Will Rhymes on deck.
Even though it's spring training, this is a situation that always makes me scratch my head when I watch a ball game. You got the winning run on first base, and as an outfielder, you're instructed your whole career to play no doubles defense. What's that mean? It means a ball can't possibly be hit over your head. So invariably, you'll see an outfield like you're seeing right now play deeper than deep as you look at the left fielder. And I have no idea who that is because I quit keeping score about 2 innings ago.
That's Puelo.
Thank you. And what that allows, the point I'm trying to make, it allows the runner on first to go first to third. So now you're playing a no doubles defense. A trickler through the infield allows the winning run to get to third base with 1 out. And I can't tell you how many times in my career I've seen it, but the thinking in the no doubles defense right here is, you know, the ball's over your head, the game's over. So I understand why you do it, but there's got to be a happy medium between having your heels on the warning track and allowing the runner to go easily into third versus having the ball hit over your head.
And I'll tell you, you better have a left fielder who's willing to charge the ball hard. Doesn't come into play there, though, as Walters thought it was a ball. He took it, and that's 2 outs here. First strikeout for Jeremy Hefner, who will face Will Rhymes. Pinch ran in the 6th, flied to left in the 7th. Fly ball to left. On the run, Cesar Puello. He drops it, but it's a foul ball. That play will end the game if it's fair, but it was in foul territory when he made contact with it. And to Chris Marrero's credit, all the way from first base, he was running hard in case that was a fair ball.
Great shot of Davey Johnson right there in the dugout. He's got a great look at it. He's looking right down the third baseline. I see Puello going to the wall. Little bad hop right there at the end.
Yeah. Clearly foul.
It's where the ball is, not where it lands. So if you're at home saying, well, it landed fair because he knocked it fair. Well, it didn't really, but it was close. It's where the ball would have landed.
That's one of those balls hit off a left-hander's bat. It comes twisting back toward the line.
Clearly took a bad hop there at the end.
No balls and 1 strike to Will Rhymes. Hefner turning 1 over on him that time. Counts even. Catcher, by the way, Landon Powell's been in there for a couple of innings.
I see Marrero stretching those hamstrings at first base. I'd imagine after you had a bad tear like he's had, that's something you're very conscious of the rest of your career. Always keeping those things loose.
Rhymes hits it sharply. Booted by Tovar. Safe at first with Will Rhymes hustling. And that will be an error. And the Nats now have the winning run at second base.
Will Rhymes with 9 lives in that at-bat. First the drop pop-up down the left field line. Then Tovar peeking a little bit early, sat on that ball. Came up off it, and now the winning run. The game-winning run at second base in the form of Chris Marrero.
So here's Carlos Rivero.
Had a nice at-bat last time up, smoked that ball to right center field.
Drove in 64 runs in 126 games last year. Breaking ball in the dirt. And a 1-0 pitch. Right off the gear of the catcher and back to the screen.
My memory serves me correct. There was a game with the Mets last year at Nats Park where things started to self-destruct on defense for the Mets late, and the Nats walked them off.
Yeah, the Nats went prancing off that field a lot of times last year. One. It's out of play to the right.
It's a good looking swing.
Carlos Rivero, waiver claim off the Phillies roster a year ago, December. 8 years in the minors, has never tasted big league action. And a 1-2. Breaking ball, got him. Hefner snaps off a beauty. So we've played 9 here. And it appears we're going to keep on going. Mets leave the field. The Nats about to take the field. It's 4-4 after 9. 2-3-9 with a strikeout in the middle. And he will face Juan Lagares, the right fielder, to start. Then the catcher, Landon Powell. And after that, the first baseman, Brandon Hicks, who's gone all the way.
Can't think of too many times last year where Ryan Matthews had a 2-inning outing. Usually it was just 3 hitters or 1 inning.
And you know him better than I do, but we all know him pretty well. He's the kind of guy who really gets amped up. And guys like that, you wonder about going and sitting down, calming down, and then coming out with that fire for the second inning.
Especially this early, Carp. When you're talking about maybe not being full strength yet.
That is heavy, heavy sinkage right there. Oh, I think you're better off swinging and missing at that pitch.
Or maybe he is at full strength. The turbo 2-seam fastball from Ryan Matthews.
Wow.
At times last year, I called it a nasty left-handed slider, and you see the action right there.
That is really amazing. Landon Powell, the catcher, is next. Walked his first time up.
It's all about getting on top of that sinker, so you create the trajectory of being on top of the baseball, and you get that nasty sink on right-handed hitters. You get to the side of that and your fingers off to the side, it just kind of runs. But to get that true sink, you have to have your fingers on top of the baseball, and you see the release point. That's not a sinker.
That thing drops right in. What is coming next when you're facing Ryan Matthews?
Well, he'll grip the split as he goes into his glove, but then let's see if he goes with an 0-2 count right now. Pretty good miss.
And a 1-2 right at the knees for another strikeout. Well, we talked about this with Mike Rizzo. These right-handers, FP, in the bullpen who can get it done against left-handed batters.
Yeah. I mean, you got a sinker that's like a left-handed slider. You're going to get a lot of right-handers out, but you're also going to get your fair share of lefties out, especially if he develops that 2-seam fastball where he throws it at the front hip of a lefty and runs it back.
So they go up first pitch swinging right there. That's Brandon Hicks grounding out to Will Ryan. So how about 6 hitters up and 6 hitters down for the very efficient Ryan Matthews. Bottom of the 10th inning, Matt Skoll, Steve Lombardozzi, and Yuri Perez for the Nets. Hey, by the way, before we get away tonight, I have to thank our buddy from MASNsports.com, Dan Kolko, for letting me use his binoculars. I forgot mine in a game like this with all these guys coming in and out. I would have had Cleon Jones in left field, Marv Throneberry at first, and Choo Choo Coleman behind the plate. So thanks, Dan Kolko from MASNsports.com, and I will pack more efficiently for our second spring training trip next week.
Let's go. You're losing. Come on. Tighten it up.
All right. Matt Skoll. RBI walk and a strikeout. Bottom of the 10th. High in the air to the left side. Satin out. Tovar over. This ball is going to fall. Nobody's going to get near it. Guys are playing deep out there because of the breeze and a long way to run there.
Well, let's just say the last couple innings aren't ones that the Mets are going to put on their defensive highlight reel to start the 2013 season. That ball was up in the air a long time. And nobody able to get there.
I just heard a fan downstairs holler, "Run like you're trying to make the team." Had one of those guys chasing that fly ball.
Pretty healthy hack right there by Skoll.
Yeah. This guy's got serious pop. And there's a shot to right, and it is caught by Lagares. Right field is nowhere to hit the ball tonight, but I tell you, Matt Skoll put a charge into that.
Well, that's one they definitely want to put on their highlight reel. I take it back. Nice play right there, going in the gap. And watch the swing by Matt Skoll. He had that look in his eye like he was going to end this thing, but it gives Nats fans an idea of what to expect from this big young slugger. Short, compact, and pretty much every other day in this ballpark, that's a home run.
There's Steve Lombardozzi. He's going to guide one up the middle that hits the side of the mound, and then Wilmer Flores makes a good play to throw him out. So we might be 1 out away from the end of the game. If the Mets don't have any other pitchers, sometimes they'll bring another pitcher or two and not tell you about them. But if this is it, you would think that Jeremy Hefner would be done after 2 1/3, and so would the Mets staff.
And we can't see the bullpens here to tell if anybody's warming up, so we don't know.
Top of the order, Yuri Perez. I'd love to see an inside the park walk-off homer right here. Outfielder makes a mistake. This guy running, it could happen.
That'd be a runoff homer.
Maybe.
Inside the park runoff homer.
Like it. Yuri Perez took a home run swing right there. So we're kind of right with you on this thing. When the third out of this inning's made, unless the Nats win it, I'll kind of stick around with you for a few moments, try to figure out what's happening. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Perez is hit by that pitch. Fastball up and in, got him. Winning runs on base. And we'll see if Davey turns him loose with Chris Snyder coming in.
Let's see where it gets him. Got the elbow guard on. Did he get him right there? Looks like it.
Chris Snyder. Low throw picked out of there by Brandon Hicks.
So you check every pitch.
Actually, that's Josh Satin now, who's moved over to first base.
So you check every pitch that hits the dirt, but when they throw it over to first like that and it skips, nobody ever checks it.
No.
Nobody ever checks the baseball. There's got to be a scuff on it after that.
You're the hitter. Don't you need to ask for a ball there?
Sure.
Up and in. By the way, I just received unofficial word from the press box that this will be it if it ends in a tie after 10.
So your sign off when the Nats win is see you later. Your sign off when they lose is what? We'll see you in just a while.
So long for just a
So
while.
long for just a while. You got one for a tie.
Football games don't even end in ties anymore. Hockey games don't end in ties.
So you come up with a sign-off for a tie. Let's go.
Oh, boy. You just brought up something I hadn't thought about the entire offseason. How do you call a tie? It's a breaking ball in there. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Chris Snyder, who's 1 for 3. Boy, you'd love to see him, even if it's only a single, get one in between some outfielders or near a chalk line that's going to make some people move around, and then watch Yuri Perez do his thing. Crowd getting a little testy here. 4,447 paid tonight. And the 1-2 with Perez running. Swing and a miss. So at 9:34 Eastern, I see umpires leaving the field, and it appears we have played to a 4-4 tie with the Mets. Nationals out-hit them 11-9. Steven Strasburg.
So there you go. 4-4 is the final score in 10.